And welcome to the WAN show. Australia has been, actually, no, I don't care as much about this one. It's really interesting and it's really important. But what I actually want to talk about is an influencer who is suing another influencer for infringing on her vibe. I have so many thoughts on this. Actually, Luke, hold on. I'm gonna need to. Dan, can you get rid of Luke for a second? There's a lot of beige. There's a lot of beige in Luke's vibe right now, and that could be infringing.
I'm infringing.
I'd like to avoid a lawsuit. Actually, hold on. I need these chairs. I need these chairs out of the frame. There we go. Okay, we have a non-infringing. Dang it. We have a non-infringing vibe. Okay. Oh, perfect. That's great. The labs did man, we've got so many great topics this week. Fine. The labs did a super cool article about power supply efficiency ratings and how the power supply you buy might actually be better than what you would think based on the label on the box. What else we got? Okay, Dan, we can put everything back.
Yeah. Australia bans social media for kids under 16, and gaming in the USA is about to get rather tariffable.
That's not funny.
I think it's pretty all right.
The show is brought to you today by JumpCloud, LG, and Vessi, and also our laptop partner, LG, and of course dBrand and Secret Labs, who are our skin partner, and I wouldn't have skin without dBrand, and also our chair partner, which Dan conveniently covered up with Luke right as I was about to point at it. Way to go, Dan. Good timing as always. All right, why don't we jump right into our headline topic for the day, which I actually forget what it is. Dan, do you remember what it is?
You're an advertisement.
Yeah, we didn't even talk. Dude, we didn't even talk about that.
It's going so well so far.
That's awesome. LTTStore has had 3 sponsored creator videos go up this week, including 2 long-form videos and 1 short. Luke, have you seen any of them?
None.
You have seen none. Perfect. So all of our influencer marketing is going up in reverse alphabetical order. So it's going to start with Zach Builds and Zach's Tech Turf. And then we skip all the way to M. Yeah, go ahead.
Did we do that on purpose?
No. Not even a little bit. No, 100% no. No, our third one is Macho Nacho Productions, and I'm pretty sure we would have been able to find at least 1 or 2 tech YouTubers who are, between Z and M. Anyway, check this out. This is such a cool video, has already got nearly 500,000 views from Zach Builds. Obviously, I'm going to want you guys to go check out the entire video and not just the LTT product placement in it. But watch this. Hold on. Wait for it. That was annoying. I can't believe it didn't work from the factory. Blah, blah, blah. Ready to keep pushing forward. Don't worry. Something interesting is going to happen soon. Let me segue to our sponsor. LTTStore.com, let's go! I gotta tell you, I did send a rather terse email to the business team when I saw this spot go live. And the reason for that is that while Zach actually did an amazing job, by the way, this is incredible, of showing off the screwdriver, showing off everything that's good about it, the strength of the magnet, the completeness of the kit. He did just an outstanding job talking about the quality. It's really well shot. The one thing that he didn't do is use our screwdriver for the project. Fortunately, the good news here is that in spite of any perceived beef that may exist on their side, I have nothing against iFixit. A huge advocate for their for their mission and all of that. Anyway, we didn't get to him in time, and he did say in the sponsor spot that if the screwdriver had gotten to him in time to do the project, because it arrived after he'd done it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, that's That's rough. All right.
Yeah, if it had gotten there in time to do the project, he would have preferred to use it. He did say he really liked it, so that's really good to hear. Anyway, I got a real kick out of that, and I was like, "Yo, guys, look, like it's fine, but like." Really? And they were like, no, that's how it went down. Anyway, so we also had a video go up with Zach's Tech Turf. This one I haven't actually watched yet. This one's a short. Oh, wait. I didn't even know who it was, but I know the guy's face. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, other Zach. Yeah, my bad. Anyway, tools PC builders actually need. A knife. All right. Fair enough. Cutters. Yep. Fair enough. Most importantly, screwdriver. Let's go. Freaking awesome. So that's our second one that went live. Oh, look at this. He's got a whole bunch of them. Okay, that's pretty cool. So that's the second one that went live. And then also Macho Nacho Productions. This is a really cool video. You guys are going to want to check this one out as well. Nintendo never gave us a Switch Pro, so modders did. Also, just a really nice spot for the precision screwdriver. And yes, guys, I can see you in the comments. I hear you in the comments shrieking about us uploading a promotional video with influencer marketing for a product you literally can't buy right now because it's out of stock. Trust me, I don't like it any more than you do, but hey, look, okay, we're new to this, okay,
You can sign up for some newsletter about when it's going to be back in stock or something, and I don't know, Nick said it was going to be December-ish maybe when they have more information.
So we'll get it back.
That's such a classic, like, us problem.
I know.
That's the exact type of thing that we would screw up. That's very on brand.
Yeah, so there's this great project. It's hype as F, and like you're gonna love it, and like, yeah, I don't know what.
No.
Oh, yeah, too bad. Maybe it's our strat. Maybe just nobody consulted me, and that's our strat.
You're going for the luxury product strat, you know?
Yeah, it's the new Birkin bag. It's the LTT precision screwdriver.
I got to make an appointment for it, but you're not allowed to make appointments.
Yeah, put it in your loved one's stocking next year. Hope that they don't need to screw anything together between now and then. Anyway, you guys are going to want to check this video out as well. Super cool. And yeah, I don't know what to say about this other than that. Go check out those videos. Massive shout out to them for working with us on this. I mean, obviously they didn't, nothing in life is free. We believe in paying people for their work. So these are paid sponsorships, as you guys would expect from us. And you can expect to see a lot more. We have a couple discussion questions. The first one is, does it feel weird to go full circle from sponsored to sponsor? And I gotta say, I feel like this is hardly full circle so much as it's that I am going in circles, right? Because I started out as just like a paid mouthpiece to make product videos for rich video merchandising on product pages, and then made my way into like independent sort of opinion / tutorials and guides and reviews, while also maintaining the other thing in parallel. And then started doing sponsorships also in parallel to then creating products and like sponsoring myself to sponsoring others to splitting off the lab to be its own like independent media review thing to like, I don't know. I got a lot going on. I got a lot going on over here. But yeah, no, it feels kind of cool. It's not the same feeling as seeing the product get reviewed, like independently reviewed. But I would say it's honestly kind of more fun in like a different way, if that makes sense. Like it's more surreal, right? Like it feels like an out of body experience a little bit. If that kind of makes sense.
Something that's been, I mean, it's I've always had this reaction where like if I'm watching a YouTube video and then I notice someone's wearing like one of our shirts or like one of our sweaters or something, it's always like, oh, whoa, like it kind of it's jarring in a good way, if that makes sense. Like it kind of, I don't know. You have to take a second to kind of absorb it. But now it's happening where shirts, as much as I do like our shirts, you know, I didn't even really think about it. I'm wearing one of them right now. They feel more on the merch side of things when someone's using one of the tools and they don't talk about it and they're not making like it feels like it wasn't a conscious decision. It was just like, no, this is just the best thing that I have for this. Then it's almost a different form of reaction. I don't know. It's kind of
and like one thing that's really different about the sponsorship thing for me is that I've talked a lot about how I have a very kind of limited schedule and I don't have enough time to fill it with a ton of YouTube. I don't watch a ton of YouTube. I don't really sample my own products, so to speak. But I have felt compelled to watch these videos from the creators that we sponsor because, and like, look, I would never, because I've been on the other side of it, I would never like give myself credit for their hard work, but I do feel like we supported it, right? Like I feel like we helped enable them to do what they do, and it's a really different feeling. It shouldn't be. I mean, we enable people to do their creative work all day. Every time Riley uploads TechLinked, you know, Linus Media Group Incorporated has enabled something. You know, that's what we literally do for a living. But it feels a little different when it's these smaller creators, or in some cases, I mean, we've even sponsored creators that are arguably our size or bigger, depending on the measure, right? But
right,
I don't know. It feels it's vibes. It's good vibes.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, especially when, you know, AdSense on tech content isn't that amazing. So at the end of the day, a lot of what keeps the wheel going around is this kind of sponsored content. So it's fun helping keep the wheel going around for other people as well.
And what's cool about that is that one of the things that we've made a conscious effort to do over the last 5 years or so, maybe longer than that actually, over the years, is to diversify our sponsorships and make ourselves less dependent on the brands that we cover. And that's a tough thing to do because especially when you're first starting out, the advertisers target whoever is the audiences that most overlap with the people who will buy their products, which for reviewers, obviously you're going to target the reviewers who are making videos that viewers are watching that are reviews of their products, right? So you're going to have this inherent kind of conflict, and you can manage that. You can mitigate that. You can have good agreements. You can have strong moral fiber, good character, and you can keep your editorial and your sponsored talking points separate. But it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. And it's always going to mean that you're going to be dependent. There's a hand that feeds you, and it's at least going to occur to you whether or not you should bite it. And you might be an absolute wild man like me and go out of your way to bite it just for lols. Like, I mean, the Framework Secret Shopper one, I'd say, is probably the best recent example of that. We didn't have to do that. Nirav has not even emailed me about it. He has not so much as acknowledged that video to me, which I think is really funny.
What about when it's your own hand? What about when you reviewed LTTStore?
Yeah, I don't know. We're idiots, honestly. Like we're kind of crazy. And you know what? There's a lot of integrity, like in the tech YouTube space. There's a lot of people that I think would do the same thing if they had the privilege. But this is something that they are not dependent on. They don't depend on me for anything. If anything, I'm like a competitor or whatever, right? Not that I really see it that way, but I'm more, if they make me mad or whatever, like what? Drama builds audiences. Drama gets views. I mean, there's certainly plenty of examples of that in the tech space, right? So it's one of those things where like they have absolutely nothing to lose by like burning a sponsor relationship with me or whatever, right? And it makes them less dependent on tech sponsors that actually exist within the vertical that they cover. So that's something that's really cool to me. I think that's probably, if I had to nail it down, I think that's the coolest thing, is that we are enabling the same diversification that we have sought to achieve for ourselves. And that's a really healthy thing for the space, to have sponsors that you don't cover as well. That's the ideal. Anyway, sorry,
sure.
what are we supposed to be talking about? Yeah, so yeah, this is cool. Oh, our other discussion question. Actually, maybe you can speak to this because I think you're doing a paid gig thing right now. Like that's what you're in France for, right? So
yeah.
The discussion question is, can you talk about brand creator relationships and how sponsorships even work? Does the brand reach out? Does the creator reach out? How does it work?
I mean, it can work in both ways in regards to reaching out. I think generally how we do it is you have the business team might kill me here because I might say something wrong. So I don't know. Don't take this at my word, but you have some partners that you've been working with for a long time, and it's more like you talk to them near the beginning of the year, near the beginning of the quarter, whatever, and you try to figure out like, okay, what is our approach going to be this time? Like how can we best work together this time? There's some amount of assumption that you're going to work together. There's some like cold calling where you're reaching out to people, seeing if you can work with them, and then there's cold calling in our direction where people are reaching out to us, seeing if they can work with us. In this particular case, I don't necessarily know what happened. I think being a review company, having relationships with companies that make products has always been kind of interesting. Like what I'm in France for is OVH. OVH we use as a company and have been using as a company for like genuinely
years.
Close to a decade.
I think a decade.
Because of the forum.
I think so. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. 10 years of partnership. Let's go.
Yeah, we've also used almost every one of their products, which is like kind of crazy. Like we even at one point in time we used one of their products, which is called So You Start, which is like basically semi-recycled, like very old discount servers. Because that's, I mean, at one point in time that made sense for us, right? So like that one's pretty easy because like when I'm here hosting with them, it's I just get to talk about like I don't know. The reason why I've been using them for basically a decade, which makes it pretty simple. There has been times where, you know, I'll be pretty friendly with representatives from a certain company. And then we do a review and then suddenly, I mean, I was still down to be friendly. And then it becomes not very friendly anymore. But that's just part of the playing field, right? Like you can't, you can't let whatever you have going on affect a review. It doesn't matter. Like it's completely irrelevant at that point. The second you're reviewing something, you have to be completely impartial. So, I mean, I've lost people that I was friendly with, but it's part of the game. And there's also been people like you just mentioned the framework thing, right? Like some people get it.
Yep.
And they're just like, okay, well, I'll take from this what I can, and we keep moving forward, right? It doesn't matter. But
and then there's Astro,
personally,
who never spoke to me again after this review.
Yeah, it's part of the game. It is what it is. I don't know.
Yep, but you got to be, you got to be willing to just kind of move forward. Like I think, as much as I dog on them, which is part of the point of what I'm about to say, NVIDIA has grown up a lot over the last little bit. We dog on them. We talk about the things that they do that we don't like. You know, we tease their leather jacket, kitchen enjoying CEO. You know, we talk about the negative aspects. I think I've made it very clear. I think they're an extremely difficult company to work with. I think they've got an arrogance about them, a chip on their shoulder that makes its way straight from the top. But, you know, I think we also acknowledge the good that they do. We acknowledge the extremely strong track record they have for product support, for example. NVIDIA's software support for their aging and legacy products stands out in an industry where many companies will just arbitrarily drop support for things, even that are quite new. When they commit to something, they follow through on it. I mean, even when it's obviously failing, look at how long they stuck by 3D vision in spite of the fact that it was clearly dead. But that ecosystem they'd built, they supported it for a long time. So we talk about the things they do bad. We talk about the things that they do well. And after a couple of years and someone who did take things personally, ultimately leaving the company under some circumstances that I genuinely don't know what they were, but they're not there anymore. They have come back to the table. I think we're probably going to be working with them this coming year. We've done some stuff with them in 2024. And that's good. Like, that's a healthy thing for them to be able to be criticized on the one hand, editorially, and be able to work with us to, in a sponsored or advertiser capacity to get their side of the messaging out, if that's what they want. You got to have both of those things. And if you want to reach our audience, you're just going to have to accept that that's how it works. Colton today, I think this might end up in a behind the scenes that Sammy was shooting. Colton today brought up the time he had to get on a call with Intel right after I did that intro with like me as like a hostage. Like a terrorist hostage?
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
No. I'm acknowledging it, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, here it is. So we did this bit where I pretended that here we go. That Intel was holding me at gunpoint and I had to read a statement saying that their stuff was really good or whatever. He had to get on a call with them like the day after that went live to smooth it over. Oh man. I can't believe the kind of stuff we've done over the years. Like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. It's also really funny to me that that anyone even remotely acknowledges people who are like, yeah, Linus would never say anything negative about a sponsor or whatever. Like, dude.
I was explaining the concept of I don't have a swear button, so I'm gonna manually bleep it, but I was explaining the concept of stuff manufacturers say the other day to somebody. And they're like, wait, you guys actually did this? And I like showed them a few of the videos. They're like, what?
Oh yeah, dude. I think Cooler Master works with us again, so I guess I can say this, but Cooler Master like didn't talk to us for I think like a solid 2 or 3 years after that one on their supposedly mechanical keyboard one from the shit manufacturers say series.
I remember that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but like, I don't know. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. You gotta. The thing is, look, if you do your job well enough, and I'm talking to my fellow content creators right now, okay? If you do the job well enough, it's not going to matter who likes you or who doesn't like you, because at the end of the day, people come, they go in this industry, they move around jobs, they move around positions. If you're good enough, you'll still be there. Doesn't matter. There's always another chance to restart the relationship. That doesn't mean that you should be malicious. You should never be malicious. Never do anything out of malice. That's not healthy either. But you've got to speak your mind. You've got to be honest. You've got to bring the best knowledge that you have to your audience. And as long as you do that, the audience is going to be there for it. And as long as the audience is going to be there for it, the brands will always come crawling back. Every
and I think an important part of this equation
except Apple
is, well, they were never there in the first place.
No.
I think an important part of this equation is that we need to come back to, basically, like if someone scorns us, but then there's a change in the future that we need to do it as well, which we do.
Or if we screwed something up. If we screwed something up, then we should do what it takes to heal the relationship as well.
Yeah, totally, for sure.
dBrand is most healthy sponsor relationship. Yeah, I don't know about that, but definitely it works. It works in its own toxic way. All right, what do you want to talk about next? What do you want to talk about next? Oh, actually, on this. Okay, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say the Australia bans social media for kids under 16.
Let's do it.
Do you want me to do it? I don't know how the latency is working.
Yeah, it's like a 2-second delay, but you go ahead.
All right.
So
Australia has passed its. Stop it! You're not allowed to do that on purpose.
Sorry about that.
Australia has passed its controversial social media ban for children under 16 into law only a week after being released. That's genuinely kind of nuts. Rather than punishing children who manage to get around it, which many are already promising to do, the law compels platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, X, and even Reddit to find some way to block access by minors, which doesn't involve requiring government ID, which is good.
Ask them to write in cursive.
That would probably work until you get an AI that can it wouldn't even need to be an AI, just like a font system. Anyways, social media sites, possibly any website that allows interaction between users. So any social media site, UGC site, stuff like that, could face fines of up to $33 million for systemic failures to prevent children under 16 from holding accounts. Oh, crap.
Wait, what? Are we a social media platform by this definition?
We have multiple of them.
What do you mean multiple? What other than Floatplane?
The forum.
No, forum's not social media.
I really hope there's some amount of it only comes into account once you're a certain size, because if not, we're going to have to figure something out. Because that's a lot of money. Anyways, the government says that the law, $33 million USD Australian. That's not how that works. Oh, it's 33 million Australian dollars. Okay.
Okay, so $20. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Or like
cost of doing business.
Million Canadian.
Yeah, cost of doing business.
The government says that the law supports parents concerned about online harms to their children, while opponents are concerned the ban could negatively impact mental health by cutting vulnerable young people off from support networks. Oh, wow.
Interesting. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. Because, social media does allow us to connect with each other, but the problem is that each other are shit a lot of the time. So, man, it's man, are you better off?
Pretty strongly of the opinion that it does a lot more harm than it prevents.
This is tough. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sure it will hurt for certain people, though. I don't know. Anyways, privacy advocates warned that it's moving around. Sorry, one sec. Privacy advocates warned the law would lead to increased collection of personal information, while the Australian Human Rights Commission said the law may infringe human rights of young people by interfering with their ability to participate in society. Oh.
Man, these are some wild arguments, but hold on. Is that true? Are you able to participate in modern society? And remember, people's society is defined by their way of interacting with it. If your way of interacting with people is through social media, if that's your cohort, is there a valid argument there? I think there might be.
No.
Well,
I don't think so. I think my reasoning for that is because you're not going to stop interacting with your peers. So if they ban social media, you will find some other way to interact with your peers. You're not stopped from interacting with society. You're being stopped from interacting with society, with a society of specifically adults and in one specific way. You can still observe, because you could still go on YouTube, I'm sure. Because it's talking about making accounts. It's not talking about using the platform. So you could still look at Reddit. You could still look at YouTube. You just can't interact with it, which I think is fine. And then in regards to participating in society, you can still talk to other people. You can call your friend. You can talk to your friend in person. I think that's a massive overreach of what's actually happening to say that they're being cut off from interacting with society. That's not fair. And I think in some ways, honestly, especially when you have developing brains and whatnot, you don't necessarily want all forms of society being shoved into your head all at the same time. I think there's arguments that that's bad for currently evolved humans of all ages to a certain degree.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. I would say that probably 95% of my eldest's social interaction when he's at home is on Discord. Discord is obviously social media. It's not on the list here, but I would assume that it would be. Yeah. Someone's going to figure out at some point that it's social media, so it'll probably be added to the list. And the problem with that is that the infrastructure that existed before Discord doesn't exist anymore. Like there is.
Oh, it's still there.
No. Hold on.
Still around.
No. Hold on. I'm going even farther back than that. Because TeamSpeak would still be a social platform potentially. So we got to go farther back than that. The landline is not part of the family home anymore. Like there is no way. Even if I'm like, here, son or daughter, borrow my cellular telephone. There's no one for them to call. It's weird. Like it's not taboo, but it's not normal for, one of my kids' friends to call my phone. That would be not normal. That would be weird. Like we have these boundaries that exist around cell phones that sort of come from the time when the cell phone was separate from the landline home phone, but those landline home phones went away. There is no phone number for my kids to call to talk to their friends. So if they don't interact online, how do they talk to them when they aren't at school together, when they aren't already in the same physical room? And I'm not saying that this is insurmountable. I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here on purpose because for better or for worse, this is the communication lifeline that they have to each other that they're used to. And cold turkey may not be ideal.
I've got a few opinions on this. I think if you look at the list of things that they mentioned, I don't necessarily know that Discord would be on there. I think it would be, but I'm not certain because TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, X, Reddit, all of these are big feeds of information. You jump on, it's forcing content into your face. Something like TeamSpeak, especially, but also Discord, you are more joining things. When you set up Discord by default, there's nothing. And then you join a server, right? There's some action that you have to take. On X or whatever, there's a home feed. On Reddit, there's a home feed, Facebook home feed, TikTok home feed. All of these things have a feed of information that is given to you no matter what. I think it's different. I don't know how this law would view Discord. Maybe it is included, maybe it's not. But something that I would really push is that I guarantee you day zero, people are going to figure out how to interact with each other in some way. I think the comment that you made and one of the comments in here talking about how they can't participate in society are both assuming that humans somehow, for some reason, for the first time in however many years you believe in, decided to stop innovating, which just makes no actual sense. People are going to communicate. There's going to be a way. So I'm not personally super concerned about that. I don't know.
I think there'll be growing pains for sure. I think you underestimate the inertia of being used to something.
I completely believe that. I think there will be growing pains 100%. What my whole day zero thing wasn't like, it'll be good day zero. My point was that people will be trying things, working on things day zero. It might take a pretty considerable amount of time. But I also think that that's okay. I don't think that we should not do things because there is any amount of downside. I think we should recognize that there is a immense and extremely deeply rooted negative impact of having kids on social media. I think social media of all kinds is genuinely like a negative thing for a lot of society. I think there are positives to it, but I do think for the most part it negatively weighs on a lot of people. Doom scrolling, if you have there's this whole concept that like relaxation and rest is actually very important, and there's been some studies, some looking into this recently, that people aren't receiving the amount of relaxation and rest that they should have, because you're going to work and stressing, and then you're coming home and your rest time is
it's actually like hyper-stimulated,
etc., which is extreme stimulation and extreme stress, because the stuff that's working really well on those platforms is negativity. It's really bad news. It's all these, it's fighting. It's, when you work and you have a stressful day and then you go home and you fight people on Twitter, you're not resting.
Here's a pitch.
Sleep stressed out.
Here's a pitch from Floatplane Chat, from Alon. What if they banned algorithmic social media rather than just social media in general? Because if you strip away the algorithm element of it, it's basically just, you could draw a lot of parallels to something like a Discord or an iMessage group chat or a forum. I mean, is Twitter really that different from a forum at that point, right? You've got a parent post, and then you've got a thread of replies. Fundamentally, you can DM other people in the replies. I
actually do think it is. I do think it's quite different, and that's why I was saying, like, I don't technically know when looking at this if things like Discord count, because there's algorithmic, sure, but on stuff like X or Twitter or whatever, there's a global feed. On stuff like Facebook, there's global information. If there was a way to use Facebook where it only ever
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
On your friends list.
Yeah. So no algorithm feeding.
Yeah. Okay. I think that would be a lot better.
To be clear, I'm not saying that any of these platforms are going to agree to build that version of their product for Australia. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, this mostly is just, the reality of it is, and I don't live in Australia. I don't have any kids who live in Australia. So to me, this is just kind of an academic conversation. And I'm sorry that this is actually impacting people, whichever side of the fence you sit on this issue. But for me, this is just kind of an opportunity to talk about, because it just, whatever position you're in, whichever your stance is, I think what we could probably all agree on is that this seems like it got rushed. This seems like it got pushed through without necessarily full consideration of the ramifications. And that's really been my main point this whole time. I'm not saying that I disagree that kids should not be on social media. I'm just saying that it seems like there's a lot we haven't considered here. Meanwhile, in 13 European countries, TikTok is blocking users under 18 from using its beauty filters, defined as effects designed to alter your appearance, particularly effects that users may mistake for unaltered video, and effects which are designed to be obvious and funny, which will not be blocked. So specifically the beauty filters are the ones that are designed to look like an unaltered video. TikTok, which already doesn't allow accounts for users under 13, also said they're developing machine learning technology to help detect and prevent people under 13 from being on platform. I don't know how effective that's going to be. Probably about as effective as it is right now, which is zero. I mean, I definitely have young relatives who are on TikTok more than I would allow my young relatives to be on TikTok, but I can't tell other people how to parent.
I think the thing that I would add before we go on is that I think much more siloed experiences like Discord, I think I'm wildly more okay with.
I don't know. Discord can be pretty Wild West, man. Like you can find some pretty unhinged stuff on Discord pretty easily.
100% if you join the certain servers that have that. But I think it's, in my opinion, it's a lot easier to, as not a parent, I have to assume as a parent that it would be easier to watch Discord usage.
Okay, I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to blow your mind right now. The parent generation never had a shot, dude. Like I attended this thing. Our YouTube rep asked me to go to this like technology and parenting thing to connect with. Oh shoot, what was her name? Basically, she runs this not-for-profit that's really focused on media literacy, especially in children. MediaSmarts. So they're a Canadian not-for-profit. So she really wanted me to connect with her. And the presentation was totally pointless for me. It was like very basic. It was like very 1,000-foot view of like, the importance of talking to kids and, what does managing screen time mean and, stuff like that, right? But one thing that I thought was really interesting about the conversation. Oh, shoot. How did I get kicked onto this? Where were we? Nope. Now I've forgotten. Crud. Does anyone remember?
Controls. I was talking about Discord, using Discord.
Yes, Discord. Okay. So one of the things that I thought about, and that was part of my conversation when I was chatting with her, was that, we're having this conversation where we talk about, best practices for, guiding our children's online interactions and, supervising screen time rather than limiting it or using parental control software. Like actually, like it was good. It was a good chat. It was like, healthy parenting guidance, actually. It was really good. But I basically told her, I was like, look, something that I think is kind of missing in this sort of an academic discussion is that the average parent is not equipped to do the things that you're asking them to do. The vast majority of the parents that I talk to, and these are parents like my-ish age. Like I'm a relatively young parent in my son's cohort, but I'm not that young anymore by the time we make it to my second daughter's cohort. Just because like Yvonne and I had kids pretty young relative to other millennials. So you got to get to like our third kid by the time I'm sort of the same age as people whose first kid is the same age as my youngest. So I'm running into people like my age, people who grew up on MSN Messenger and Habbo Hotel, and the majority have no idea what the Discord even is, let alone how to tell what servers their kids are on and how to go look through their history or figure out who they're friends with or even know what that cute little ghost face icon even means. They don't know. They don't understand. And you can kind of like, you could like crap on them, be like, well, they should know. Sure, but they don't. And that's the reality.
Yeah, getting mad is not going to actually change anything. Yeah, I think, I agree. I think it's just like some amount of anything. Like no matter what detection that they do, I'm just trying to think like, if you put me at 13, I'd get around it. I don't care what they do. I'd find some way if I actually wanted to. But leaving some form of barrier in place to try to dissuade using these platforms is probably a good idea. Because I know people personally that I think, honestly, usage of these types of platforms has introduced more brain rot than like weed and alcohol. I think it's really bad. I think it has a huge potential for negative in people's lives. So holding off until people are a little bit older and hopefully a little bit more aware of the impact that can come from these things can be good. If they really want it, they'll find a way. And it's not like you're completely stopping them from communicating.
Anyway,
and things like TeamSpeak and Discord, I think, are less of a negative impact than other things. Although anything ever is going to have downsides, right? Like even social clubs, you could have predators there.
Oh, for sure.
Like you have no idea, right? Like there's always, every single thing you ever do is going to have some form of downside. So,
and anywhere where children congregate, intentional choice of words, predators will find a way to infiltrate.
Totally. Yeah. So like,
shout out MediaSmarts.ca, by the way. So one of the things that you can do is you can share resources like this. I only met the... Yeah. So
flashing back.
Yeah, they talk about media literacy in particular, like how to recognize fake news, how to fact check, how to do your own research. A lot of people say do your own research, but a lot of people who try to do their own research are giant fucking idiots and probably shouldn't do their own research. They should just find someone who did the research for them and they should listen to them. Unfortunately, because they have no idea how to do their own research, they have no idea how to choose someone to do research for them, so they're hopeless. But anyway, MediaSmarts.ca, check it out. And so Strawberry in Floatplane chat says media safety should be mandatory in education, IMO. That's a big part of what MediaSmarts is actually pushing for, and one of their big frustrations. And we're very much like our southern neighbors this way, is that our educational curriculum is handled at a provincial level rather than at a federal level. So instead of them, with their very limited resources and money, lobbying one body, right, at a federal level, they have to go around and they have to lobby at a provincial level to try to get this stuff integrated into the platform to try to build these resources. So it's an important mission. It's extremely challenging. It's an extremely challenging thing to tackle, especially when there seem to be much better funded organizations that have a lot more interest in keeping people media illiterate, which is an unfortunate fact of our time.
Yeah.
Anywho, merch messages. I guess we're supposed to talk about those. I guess we'll also do like announcements and stuff.
Hey, that's right.
LTT Store Black Friday deals are live, and we have something special going on. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'll get to it. I'll get to this in a second. We just dropped our Black Friday deals this morning. You can save up to 50%. Oh, are we down? Are we down? I can't tell. Black Friday is live, unlike the WAN show. Okay, apparently it's just Floatplane. Okay, and apparently some people are back. Cool. Well, anyway, I'm going to get through this. You can save up to 50% on some of our most popular LTT store gear today, including mystery screwdrivers for just $40, 50% off our workshop jacket, 50% off a mystery color block hoodie, and $10 off. That is 33% off our scribe driver bolt action pens. These are some of our hottest items, and these are some deep discounts. Better yet, we also just dropped the Backpack LAN Party Bundle, which includes an LTT backpack, a Corsair K70 Core 10 keyless gaming keyboard, and a Corsair Qatar Pro gaming mouse, all for the price of just the backpack. So that's $140 in added value for free, included with the backpack.
I actually didn't even know that.
The backpack deal?
Yeah, I knew we had a backpack deal that had those things. I didn't realize it was just all of those things for free.
Yeah. Well, that's a deal. That's a type of deal.
Yeah, sure.
We're also offering free shipping on orders over $250 to the US and Canada, and free shipping over $300 for the rest of the world. So it's never been a better time to load up on deals than at the LTT Store Black Friday sale. Man, this has become a very busy page, and I'm sorry for all the stuff popping up and everything, but the team's been working extremely hard to get all the deals working in the first place. So, if there's the odd hover thing that's kind of in your way, don't stress. Anyway, but wait, there's more. If you were already on our mailing list, you already know about all of this. Something you didn't know, though, is this. We are giving away a supersized LTT screwdriver, fully functional.
We're giving one away?
Yep, we are giving away a full, this supersized LTT screwdriver to one lucky customer who purchases a ratcheting screwdriver bundle. Boom. Mic drop, screwdriver drop. So we'll have the full details at lmg.gg/bigdriver. The bundle includes an LTT screwdriver, the stubby screwdriver, and an extension shaft in either black and orange or all black, and it saves you $20 versus purchasing them all separately. If you've already purchased one throughout Black Friday, don't worry, you are already entered in the giveaway. So you can find the full details, lmg.gg/bigdriver. The last announcement is next week on Floatplane. We're going to have a new series, Tech Upgrades. Where are they now? With Ariana's being our first focus. I've been asked to start playing at 346. Dan, are you set up for audio? What? What? Why are we ever not set up for audio? Do we... No, I thought I had to play the video. I'm sorry. Cool, I got you. All right, well, here's Ariana.
We needed it. Now
What?
this is the...
Sorry,
funny-
what just happened? What was that?
I also had this baby gate.
Oh, that was Elijah falling down the stairs.
So I was like, we don't need it. Because I have it for Odin, just in case. We needed it. Now this is the bunny room.
Oh my goodness.
Sadly, Peanut is not here anymore. He passed away a couple months ago due to some health complications. So it's just me and Odin, my little dude. He's got hay on his face right now because he's a little messy eater.
Was that the part that I was supposed to play? Hold on, let me find out. 3:46 until 4 minutes. Oh, I'm at completely the wrong timestamp. Okay, well, let's go to the timestamp I'm supposed to be at, and let's try that again, shall we?
Use these stairs very well. But if you come down here, you can actually see that there's a mark from when Elijah slipped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sorry, Elijah. Anyways.
That's all there is to it.
Yep.
All right, hilarious.
Are we going to reimburse her for the damage to her house?
I don't know. We gave her a $5,000 upgrade. I think she'll be okay. Anyway, go to lmg.gg/floatplane to get access to more videos, extras, and other few special treats we have cooking for the holiday season. All right, I guess this is where I explain merch messages. So if you guys are picking something up from the store, you'll get an opportunity to leave a merch message. In the cart, you'll see a little box when we're live, and it'll allow you to fill a thing out. It'll either go to it'll all go to producer Dan, who will reply to it, pop it up down there, do both of those things, or he will curate it. He will send it to someone internally or send it to me and Luke to answer. So why don't we do a couple of merch messages? Want to show us how it works, Dan?
Sure. What is the best and worst deal LTTStore has ever done?
I think the mystery screwdriver deal is probably right up there with our best deals. I think the Willy Wonka deal on the 3D down jacket was pretty cool. I think it was a 1 in 10 chance to win or something like that. It was either 1 in 10 or 1 in 5. It was like sorry. It was either 10 in 100 or 5 in 100. It was either 10% or 5%. And people won a trip here. Like literally like a couple dozen people won and came and got tours just for buying a 3D down jacket. That was a pretty cool one. Incompul says $15 hoodies on Lime Day. That was crazy. That was like way below cost. Jeremy says $5 desk pad. Yeah, that was stupid. We shouldn't have done that. Yeah, there's some stuff we really just like straight up shouldn't have done. Yeah, $29 for the dropout was great, says Crystal. As for the worst deals we've done, I don't know if we've ever done like a bad deal. I can tell you what our worst performing product is, though. Do you guys want to know?
All time?
It might be of all time. It's really bad. It doesn't sell at all. Like nobody cares. I love it. I think it's super cool, but it's oh yeah, you can see. Well, it's a better deal right now. I'm pretty sure this is below our cost. I would have asked for this to be priced a little bit higher than this, but our GPU crash tower game, it costs what it costs because that's what it costs to get detailed laser engraving across, that many little pieces of wood. But this thing did not sell at all. Like at all. I'm going to actually message them to save one for me. I don't have one yet, but I want one. By the way, Nick messaged to say that it's just unfortunate timing that our precision screwdriver sponsor spots came out first. We have lots of other ones going for other products that are in stock. It was just really unfortunate timing. Hey, can you guys hold on to a GPU crash tower game for me? Period. I don't have one yet, and I would really like to remember my worst product idea. I actually don't think it was my idea, but it was. I was very supportive of this project in spite of the fact that it was like obviously made no sense. Like I think you can get first party Jenga for like $12 or something like that. But first party Jenga is not laser engraved. I don't even know if that's engraving. Whatever. It's not lasered. It doesn't have lasers. I mean, it has a little bit of lasering, just way less. Oh, all right. Hit me, Dan.
Sure, I got one for Luke here. Mr. Luke Lafuifui, if Canada banned chicken, would you move?
Chicken. Banned chicken.
I would start. Man, what did they call it? Was it bootlegging? When
you'd never have sex again. Could you live without it?
That's a good point. I might have to. I have to do remote WAN shows forever. What was it called when people would run alcohol during the prohibition? Bootlegging. Yeah. Okay. I thought so. I feel like I would end up like bootlegging chicken breast.
Bootleg chicken. I feel like if you put a chicken in your bootleg, it would probably be not safe for consumption by the time you get to anywhere to cook it.
I need the LTTStore like active cooling boots. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. In all seriousness, like, no, I can't just like move away from work, regardless of what weird actions the Canadian government takes. But it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, they might do some weird stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah. Dude. I suspect the next 4 years for the whole world is going to be weird. Dude, have you? Oh man, this is maybe not a topic for WAN show, but it's great. The consistency at which every single ruling party in every single country in the entire world is being voted out is nuts.
Yeah, ours is next.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's no way he holds on.
Yep, and it's almost like there were global events that took place that contributed to the challenging environment that they were all dealing with. I'm not saying that all or any of them or whatever. I'm not saying any of them were doing a great job given the circumstances. I'm just saying it's almost like there was a whole thing, that was going on a global scale, almost like that.
Yeah.
It's almost like that.
Next up, Dan.
Yeah. Do you want to hit us with one more, Dan?
Oh, sure.
I know there's a lot. Now that we've highlighted the Black Friday deals, they seem to be coming in at a pretty ridiculous rate.
I've only got 4 curated. Most people are just like, awesome, thanks for the deals.
Oh, that's nice. Shout out those people.
Rip my wallet, etc.
Oh, wait, no, before you do that, there was a chat that I wanted to respond to that wasn't a merch message. Ash69 said, at Linus, XQC needs help building a PC again. Why doesn't he just buy one at this point?
Did he learn nothing?
Like, honestly, I don't think he should build a PC. I think that he should buy a computer. That's what I think.
Just add that to his Amazon list.
Get a Mac Mini from Amazon.
JC says, my partner just picked up nearly $300 worth of underwear from you guys. She's texture sensitive and your underwear is the most comfortable she's ever found. Thank you for making great products. Make sure she gets as much as she'll ever need. I don't think we're going to stock it again because it hasn't been a big mover. So
no.
That's what happens with men's? We're bringing back the men's stuff, but we've had some trouble with suppliers for the men's stuff. So it's.
I thought you were getting rid of the men's.
Yeah, it's kind of in.
I might have just implied that I wear women's underwear.
Yeah.
I met a guy from AMD here while I was on my trip, and he was showing off all his AMD drip, and he had like AMD branded socks.
Wow.
And he had a actually very sharp looking AMD branded dress shirt that had the AMD logo on the collar. It looked actually very good. And then I pointed out, like, yeah, you can't always tell these days, but I'm also dripped out in LTT stuff because, like, at the time I was wearing the tall black long sleeve.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't tell that it's LTT merch, but it is. And then I commented on about how even my underwear was company brand.
Did he have underwear? Did he have AMD underwear?
No, I didn't.
Then we win.
Yeah.
Then we win.
Yeah.
And I have good news for you, Luke. We may be close on socks.
Really? That is actually genuinely very exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
Tatiana, the one and only Tatiana, may have found something. It's not the same as the Darn Toughs that I like, but what it is very competitive in the ways that I care about, and maybe even a little bit better in some ways I didn't know I cared about. So we're gonna see. We'll see.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, she leaked like 3 projects, when she came on the sweet double sweet 16 stream. It was crazy. It was crazy. I was like, I was this close to filing a union grievance. This close. That is my job.
You can't take my job. Yeah, we just need footwear now, and then I'll be able to be 100% LTT products.
You could just duct tape the plastic bags to your feet.
All right, sorry, Dan, I totally interrupted. Oh my God, we're up to 17 merch messages per minute. It has doubled in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Hello, my parasocial.
That's what you get for saying you have it under control.
I got it under control.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan, it's the delay. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I got it. Hello,
There's no actual delay between me and Dan. I'm just doing this to mess with them.
All right, I'm going to screw with Linus. I know how to do that. Anyway, try and talk now.
I was going to say, you could just mute him.
No! Oh, you put an echo on me. Dude, that will not stop me at all. You wouldn't believe.
Oh my gosh, you're super capable of doing that.
Dude,
that's not right.
I ran WAN Show. I used to be the producer of WAN Show.
Of course.
So I ran WAN Show while hosting WAN Show with delayed audio in my ears for years. Dude, you cannot do anything to me.
Damn.
I can sing in harmony.
I can barely...
Let's go.
I can barely talk with any sort of delay around 150. Anyway, here is a merch message for you.
Yeah.
This one says, hello, my parasocial friends, in quotations. Hello, Dan rams us all today, Lenny face. Also, Luke, how's the food at this side of the pond? Any other funny or nice things happening in the land of baguette?
No, food's amazing. Funny things happening? I don't think there's been a lot of particularly funny things happening. I went snowboarding the Alps. That was fun.
Sick.
It's been a great trip so far.
So you went all the way to France so that you could go to Switzerland? Wow, way to betray.
Nope,
way to betray your French
Alps.
lineage. Way to betray your French lineage, Mr. Lafreniere.
Oh, dude, I've been roasted so hard for that the whole time I've been here.
Oh, I bet.
Anytime anyone figures out my last name after I've already made it clear that I can't speak French, they're like, what are you doing? especially at that point in time, they assume I'm American. And then I'm like, no, I'm from Canada. And they're like, that's worse. So, I don't know. I mean, that's fair, but...
I mean, if you are American... Then I guess I can understand. Terrible Canadian.
And I mean, the consistency of which I've been roasted for that is wild. I was at a Christmas market, technically tonight, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And I was shopping, and the lady was like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "Canada." And she started roasting me before she even knew what my last name was. Then I went to go pay, and she saw my name on my card, and she was like, "What?" Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, get good, scrub. All right. Yeah. What are we supposed to be doing right now?
More topics.
Sure, let's do a topic. Oh, dude, wait. Can you? Okay. Oh, dude, this is amazing. In a first of its kind lawsuit, Sydney Nicole Gifford is suing fellow Amazon influencer Alyssa Scheel for copyright infringement and misappropriation of likeness. Both create content in the clean girl aesthetic, characterized by neutral colors, minimalist decor, and a focus on self-care. But Gifford alleges that Scheel has harmed her earnings by copying her content, including featuring the same types of products, posting similar poses and outfits, matching specific frames of her videos, and even getting a similar flower tattoo on her left bicep, just like Gifford. Scheel denies copying Gifford and claims that the similarities in their content are due to the nature of the Amazon influencer program and the prevalence of the clean girl aesthetic. She argues that many influencers feature the same products and that Gifford's style is not unique. Kind of own goaling with that one, IMO, says Riley. Sorry, he added that to our notes. Legal experts suggest that Gifford's case faces challenges because copyright law offers limited protection for the type of content she creates. Given the generic nature of many of the images and lack of exact replication, the similarities may not be sufficient to prove infringing. Our discussion question is, what are the boundaries of intellectual property in the influencer industry, where repeating trends is kind of part of the culture, like memes? Could we sue another YouTuber for making Junkyard Wars, for example? Wait, oops, that's the US version of the UK show Scrap Heap Challenge, which we actually did realize when we named our thing Scrapyard Wars, but hey, at least it's not quite the same thing. Now, everything that I said just now is sort of hard to wrap your brain around until you actually look at the content. So I'm gonna pull these guys up. Hold on. Here we go. I'm gonna pull up the one, and then I'm gonna pull up the other one. And it is worth. I know that people have some thoughts on The Verge or whatever. It is worth firing up The Verge. I'm gonna Dan, can you share the article with people? Sure. It's worth firing up The Verge and reading this article. It's a long read, but just look, put your Subway Surfers aside for a little bit and read it, because it is sort of mind-blowing. It's an outstanding piece of journalism. And hold on, I'm just trying to Control F. Crying out loud. Sydney, Sarah, here we go. It's an outstanding piece of journalism because it manages to tell both sides of the story in a way that I think is shockingly unbiased. Because if you're anything like me, you're going to look at these two and you're just going to kind of go, okay, oh, for crying out loud. Just find the stupid thing here. Okay, here we go. You're going to look at these two and you're just going to go, yeah, how could anyone be more generic than this? And how could one painfully generic person accuse another painfully generic person of like stealing their vibe when this is it? I mean, oh man, I told myself that when we covered this, I was going to try to stay neutral, but like, my God, you didn't create the products.
Like their color palette?
Yeah, you didn't create any of these products. Do you understand where that took me way too long.
Sorry.
Do you understand where products come from? Okay? Because it wasn't from you. It wasn't from your Instagram page. It was from a company somewhere that engaged a manufacturer somewhere, built a spec for a product, and created it. And if it exists on Amazon, there are literally, I promise you, the minimum order quantity for them is thousands of units. There are literally thousands of them that exist before you ever touched it. How can you possibly say that someone is infringing on you by featuring the same like purse or whatever? I am beyond words on this whole vibe.
Anyman is telling us to check examples from the Verge article, but I would recommend that people just go look at the Verge article themselves. The main thing that stands out to me is probably the arm tattoo. If those are actually super similar, that could be getting kind of weird.
They're in the same spot, but let's be realistic. There are not that many. There are not that many spots that like people put tattoos. I will show
is
the
it
tattoo
like the same
one.
Tattoo though.
I'll show just the tattoo here. No, not really.
It's rose and
definitely similar.
Dandelions?
Yeah, it's in like kind of a similar spot, but like,
and it's a similar style.
Like, look, if I got a tramp stamp, would one of them accuse me of copying them? Like, well, no, I'm not.
A second one?
I'm not saying. like an enlarged one.
Second stretch.
Like I'm not saying that either of them has one. I doubt that tramp stamp is part of the clean girl aesthetic. If anything, the opposite. But like my point is just that there's a finite number of like trendy places that people put tattoos, and I don't think that you can lay claim to putting a mark on a particular spot on your body. Like there's only so many of them. Yeah, right. And Mikeo says tattoo fads are definitely a thing, and it's like. I don't know, man. Like I just and you know what? There's, like I said, the article's really good and it does a good job of allowing them to kind of lay out what they think should be protected about their business. But I gotta say, as someone who's in the influencer game, even though, you know, a lot of what we do is more akin to vlogging or reviewing, as someone who definitely participates in, affiliate programs, honey, what you do ain't unique. And if someone's copying your style, then that's good, and keep innovating. I've been doing this for one of them is 24. Okay, I have been doing this since
more than half the time they've been alive.
I have been doing this since the one of them was 7 years old. And let me tell you, what you did when you first started, it's not going to work today. And what you're doing today is not going to work tomorrow. Platforms come and go. Content formats come and go. Visual styles come and go. You probably shouldn't have gotten that tattoo because, you know, now you've marked yourself as like, you know, Gen Z or whatever. No, in all seriousness, get whatever tattoos you want. The point is just that everything is impermanent. And if you expect like your signature tattoo to be like a thing and stay fresh and hip forever, you got another thing coming. That is not how this works. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Next topic?
Yeah, let's do it. Anyway, read the article. It's really good. It's probably the best piece that I've read on The Verge in years.
Yeah, we don't want to cannibalize other people's stuff, so just go check it out yourself. Okay, do you want to talk about
hold on. There's one thing I'm going to read off of it first. This is really funny. It's like the what is it? The byline, the subheadline? I don't know. I don't come from print. One Amazon influencer makes a living posting content from her beige home, but after she noticed another account hawking the same minimal aesthetic, a rivalry spiraled into a first-of-its-kind lawsuit. Can the legal system protect the vibe of a creator? And what if that vibe is basic? I should call her a basic bitch without saying it. I love it.
That's actually pretty good.
Anyway, it's great. It's great because there's this undertone of like, okay, this is all ridiculous, right? Like Emperor's New Clothes. Like we all know this is ridiculous, right? But she tackles the subject matter with such energy and like almost like doe-eyed innocence. Like I don't know that this is ridiculous. That you have to admire it. It's a really stylish article. It's really good. Okay. All right. Sorry, Luke, go ahead. Speaking of really good articles.
Oh, okay, good. That's a good intro. So Linus just dropped this in the topic suggestion chat with no context, and I had no idea. Like, okay, is he gonna try to roast us, or what's the plan here? The intro at the beginning of this show seemed positive, so that's cool. But yeah, I thought this was a great. This was not my idea. I thought this was a great idea. Luke Zanoni did a fantastic job. But yeah, what do you want to discuss in particular?
I just want to talk about how the lab is quietly doing some really cool stuff, and a massive shout out Oni and Lucas. And this is pretty cool. On LTTLabs.com, I came across this completely organically. Someone actually linked it to me on social media. I did not go to like my own website I own and see it. Someone sent it to me. And it's really cool. When we tested the Corsair SF850L power supply, we noticed that both the box and Corsair's website said it was 80+ gold certified. However, when we checked Clear Results database, it was actually rated as platinum. How interesting of a thing is that? Why on this green earth would Corsair, a company that allegedly likes to sell you products, rate their product gold when the certifying body that tested it says it's platinum, a higher efficiency standard? This is such an interesting question, and this is exactly what the point of the f***ing lab is. This is the whole point. This is why we needed to test it. Okay? So this is super cool. Anyway, naturally, we reached out to Corsair to ask why. Dun, 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 dun. But before we dive into, so we do a little explanation of gold, silver, and bronze. We talk about what efficiency means. It's a really nice little primer. Like used to exist back in the day of like written, articles and stuff. Coming back to it, boom, blue balls. Go read it.
Yeah, we did some tuning. We're still trying to learn about white writing for web, right? Like it's different. Like and also the lab site is a little bit different. Like something that I've been kind of trained on almost is when I'm reading articles, if I see a link in an article, I'm going to expect that it's probably not linking to me what I actually want. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've experienced a lot of whenever there's a link in an article, they find some way to shoehorn it into linking to their own site, no matter what, even if it makes no sense. And ours are just like the link that you would expect it to be. So like when you opened I think it was the Clear link, it actually went to Clear's website instead of just like a backlink to our own website. So we're trying to be legit in that way. There is actually no functional way for us to profit off of the blogs right now.
Nice.
There's no ads on them. There's nothing like that. So we're just genuinely actually trying to make them really good.
Super cool.
I think they're good. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. And I would like to point out that the whole like power supply circuit thing, kind of working. Check this out. Okay. Recent video from 4 days ago, 880 views. 880 people watched that. I know that's not a W, but relax. Hold on a second. Let's go back a little bit. This is why this exists. Let's look at everything from around a month ago. Oh, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,500, 2,000 views. Okay, let's go back a little bit farther. 4,500, 2,500, 3,000, 1.5, 4.7 thousand, 6.2 thousand. That's what these videos are for. They're meant to be a resource, and we're building a library. And you know what? The thing is, libraries are built a book at a time. So it's going to take time, but in time, guys, this is it. This is the library of how good a power supply is. And I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely excited for the work that those guys are doing. This is freaking awesome. All right. Oh, I'm supposed to do sponsors. Oh, yeah, we got to pay for it somehow. The show is brought to you by JumpCloud. Burnt turkey is bad, but burnt out IT teams are worse. You don't want to see your IT team sad during the holiday season, do you? Well, our sponsor, JumpCloud, gives your IT staff something to be thankful for. JumpCloud is an open directory platform that centralizes your entire tech stack, from user identities to device management access. You can work remotely from the beach, whether it's with your PC, iPhone, Android phone, or even a Linux computer. And if you're having a hard time jumping through IT challenges, they've got the JumpCloud community, where IT admins can learn more about JumpCloud, ask questions, swap ideas, and get help from others in the industry. It's a space for all IT pros to connect and share their knowledge. Need a handy template or script? Want to brush up on integrating your HRIS? You'll find it all there. So don't wait. Join the JumpCloud community to connect with other IT professionals at the link in the video description. The show is also brought to you by LG. Show the LG gram on your desk. It's plugged into things, so that's a little tricky, but look how light it is to pick up. As you can see, we've been using this gram on the WAN show from our sponsor LG. Just like its name would imply, it is super lightweight and slick, but still delivers powerful performance. With the LG Gram Link app, you can even connect up to 10 iOS and Android devices. And it's got AI features too, including Glance. It enhances productivity and privacy by sensing your attention and protects your data from prying eyes with features like Privacy Guard and Privacy Alert, while streamlining multitasking with tools like Smart Pointer and Snap Window. LG has their own streaming service at no additional cost that's available right on your Gram. Oh, really? I did not know that. And with their Black Friday sale, you can save up to $550 on select laptops. So there's never been a better time to grab your LG Gram devices. We'll have the link in the video description. Finally, the show is brought to you by Vessi. You don't want to be spanked by Santa this holiday, so you should stop putting up a soaked stocking. Okay. Our sponsor Vessi is here to make sure your socks stay dry with their Black Friday sale. You can save up to 40% on select shoes because the holidays are all about cozy vibes and steamy moments. What is this? Just not your feet. What is happening? What is this? What are these talking points? Vessi shoes are breathable, stylish, functional, and they've got lots of choices. Their new courtside classics bring that sporty and retro everyday look with a padded tongue for extra comfort. Or if you're more of a wild adventurer, their Stormburst high tops combine the comfort of a sneaker with the grip and coverage of an outdoor boot. Because of its versatility, Vessi has been Dennis's go-to wear for every day, especially when he travels. So now you can enjoy. Man, these are very disjointed talking points. You can tell Dennis wrote them. Sorry. Check out Vessi's Black Friday sale. Enjoy up to 40% off select shoes at Vessi.com. Jeez. All right.
He does his best.
He really does. Actually, I think Dennis has been killing it as our creative sponsorship guy.
I love them so much.
I think he's doing a great job. All right.
Merch messages and a bug now, apparently.
3 merch messages. All right, hit me, Dan.
Sure. Hey, Dinus, Luke, and Lan. With LMG's address being public and having held events at the studio, have you had disruptive fans? Have you had to put on extra focus on employee safety?
That's a really good question. You know what? For the most part, our community is extremely respectful of our personal boundaries. We have signs up outside. Yeah. We've talked about it on the WAN show. There have been a couple of notable exceptions where people think that because they're here, they're entitled to, an audience of some sort. And the reality of it is that in our business, that's a safety issue. And that's just not something that we can entertain. We have processes for these kinds of things. Don't show up here. You won't get a tour. You won't get a selfie. Like it doesn't work like that. And no, it's a really good question, but overall, people have been super, super respectful. And actually, we have found that there has been a reduction in interest in our location and interest in infringing on our privacy ever since we... He almost dropped it. Dan. Sorry. Infringing on our privacy. I thought you were taking it away. What are you doing? No, what did you do? It had what in it? He says it had animals in it. What is happening? Am I missing something?
Sorry, it had the bug that was crawling around all over it.
Oh, okay.
No, it is somewhere else.
Cool. What was I talking about? Right.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so actually people have been better about it ever since we just published our address on Google Maps. Like it's one of those things where it takes a ton of the intrigue out of it. It
actually kind of sucked back in the house. People were trying to come by. Like we were a way smaller channel back then, and people would try to come by more often. Yeah.
I Spoofed Him says, regarding the security issue, if I travel from New Zealand, can I inquire about looking around the studios and prearranging a time for this? Unfortunately, the answer is no. We do meetups and we do tours sometimes. We've done it as part of LTX, for example. But other than that, the answer has to be no, because no disrespect, but I don't know who you are, right? And when we're not set up for it, we're not set up for it, and we can't be set up for that kind of thing every day. This is an office. It's a production studio. We're working, right? We do have fun. I think we genuinely have fun sometimes, but we have a job to do, and we can't have random disruptions like that. Tony B486 says the White House gives tours. Well, good for them.
I hear if you go in January, it's like free.
Only if you got the
No. Okay. Noki 1119 says, Linus, I'm curious. You mentioned earlier in the show about conflicting with sponsors. Does this also apply to framework and laptop sponsor spots? I gotta tell you, I am surprised at how few fucks our laptop partners have given about the framework investment. I think in about the 2 to 6 weeks after I announced the investment, I had a couple laptop sponsors kind of go, is this going to affect your coverage of us and our ability to work with you in a sponsored capacity in any way? And I don't think a single deal was so much as delayed by it. Literally, no offense to Framework. I love Framework. I love their mission. I am invested personally in Framework and the success of their mission. The rest of the industry does not even acknowledge the existence of Framework. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. Whatever. I don't think they see Framework as a competitor. I don't think Framework has competitors. Framework has a product that is very unique and very Framework, which is a really cool thing that they've managed to do in such a commodity space as laptops, right? That's incredible. To build a laptop in this day and age that actually has a unique identity and value and story. I mean story without getting into some cheesy thing about how every one of them is made out of some rock that you found on a mountain or something, right? Like a real story. I think that's really incredible. But it's a really small niche, and I just don't think that the main manufacturers acknowledge it. I hope that changes someday, but I don't know if I see a path to that right now. I mean, I hope though. That's all I have to say about that. And I don't think that as much speculation as there might be about my biases or whatever else, I don't think that I've shown any bias in favor of Framework. I go out of in fact, if anything, I treat them very much like the coach's son. I go out of my way to scrutinize them so that I will not be perceived as having a bias, which is actually a bias of sorts, but it's not the kind that anyone gets mad at me about, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah. If you're going to have one, that's probably the better one to have.
Oh, that's the safer one to have, because it's so much easier for us to just kind of put on our if anything, I go hard at them shield, right? And it's what do you get? You can be mad about your perceived conflict or whatever else, but the reality of it is I'm still going to promote LG. I'm still going to daily my Snapdragon machine from HP.
There we go.
Whatever. Oh, did you think my audio cut out? Oh, apparently he's fixing something with Dan in the background. All right, cool. No, I just stopped talking mid sentence.
I ain't doing nothing. What is beeping though?
I don't know.
Yeah. Another merch message?
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Been a long time enjoyer of the show. Question for Linus. Working with engineers, what have you learned or became interested in? I'm hoping to study outside of school to become one.
Oh man, talking to someone who is knowledgeable and passionate about just about anything is super interesting. I never thought that I would care. And I'm talking about Tatiana's spot on the double sweet 16 stream again. I never thought that I would care about fabric weights and composition. But you talk to somebody like that about it, and you're like, dang, this is cool. And it's the same. You talk to someone like Tynan And I'll use a non-work example. Tynan's, I'm not, okay, I don't want to give away any personal information, but Tynan knows a lot about rehabilitation equipment and like workplace ergonomic equipment. He knows a lot about that. I'm not going to explain why. And talking to him about that stuff, it's just like, it's cool. There's so much more to like rehab than just, taking it easy or whatever else. I'm trying to think of like, oh man, they never let me talk to Nate in merch meeting because the project that he's working on is a very long-term project. And the reality of it is that I don't really need to talk to him for him to keep working on it. But I love talking to Nate about it because he, I think, believes extremely strongly in the product that he's building for LTTStore right now and is genuinely excited about telling me about the roadblocks that he's able to overcome and some of the exciting features that we might be able to have, and just everything is cool when you dig deep enough into it. Or maybe it isn't. But if it isn't for you, then I think, you got to learn to be curious. I think you genuinely have to learn to be curious. I don't think that everyone naturally has the instinct or the impulse to ask a follow-up question. And because if they did, then everyone would have, the same coverage, say, for example, of a new news story. But if someone else's is deeper, it's because they had the curiosity to ask another question. And I think that's something that you have to practice.
Do you think that's a modern thing? Do you think that's because of the internet? No,
I don't think so. I think that if anything, like literacy should have made us more curious. If anything, I think, and I think that historically our capacity for exploration and digging deeper into things was lower. I think as a species, we accepted easy answers without the same critical thought that largely people at least attempt to give it today.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Well, sorry, what are we supposed to be doing, Dan?
One more merch message, and then we're moving on to more topics.
Neat. Okay, sure.
Thanks for the WAN show. I love listening every week. I teach at a digital art high school. What tips could you give for throwing a small LAN party, maybe 20 to 50 students, and maybe some specific games that would work well?
Well, first things first, I can tell you that 20 to 50 is a big range. 20 is a reasonable size LAN party. I would say that's a medium-sized LAN party. 50 is big. So the 50 is a freaking lot to coordinate because as soon as it's bigger than a lobby, right? As soon as it's bigger than one lobby, all of a sudden it's either like free for all and people are just playing World of Warcraft on their computers over in that corner and they're doing whatever over there, or you are like managing multiple events, right? Because there's almost nothing where you're going to have 50 people playing concurrently at the same time. So what I would say is limit your seat count to decide on your games and then limit your seat count to something that you can actually manage. And if you can, I would publish the games and schedule that you're planning to play ahead of time. People will hate it. They'll be mad about it, that you're just like, this is the game we're playing from this time to this time, and this is the next game we're playing, and this is the next game we're playing. But when the event is done, they will have had way more fun. And they won't know why. The other good thing about doing like a 16 seat or something like that, like 8 to 12 to 16, is that managing power is going to be a lot easier. Like you can probably do about 3 computers per circuit if you're in North America, maybe 4 or 5 if you're over in Europe. When you have like 50 people now, you're talking like you have to drag extension cords from every corner of the house or the facility in order to power all these computers. When you just have like 12 people, you're dragging like 3 or 4 circuits over, and you're going to have a lot fewer like blown circuit breakers.
That was going to be my biggest point, is when you start getting to numbers like 50, you're now like investing in infrastructure instead of just having some buddies over and maybe buying like a
network
genuinely
switch.
very cheap switch. When you're at 50, you're tables, chairs, power delivery, networking.
I mean, they work at a school, so presumably they have tables and chairs, but
okay. Yeah. That helps.
They asked for specific games. Luke, what are your favorite LAN party games?
I mentioned Savage. If it's incredibly old at this point, but if you can somehow acquire ISOs, because I don't know if there's any other way to get it genuinely. It's a great game for when you have very large groups of people and you want everyone to play the same game, especially if you have separate rooms of people and you want people to play the same game, especially if you're at a school and one of the desks has like a projector screen. So you can have your like commander player with the projector screen and then everyone else's individual units. It's like actually sensational for that specific use case. Outside of that, I don't know, all the classic things. I think Halo CE is just genuinely a really good LAN game. Yeah. I think Counter-Strike, if you limit it to people that don't actively play, is a really good LAN game.
Jumping in a giant TF2 lobby can be a lot of fun.
That's very fun. Yeah, you can spark servers that way. So if you don't necessarily have enough people to make a game like TF2 fun just within your LAN, if you have enough people to make the server look active, you can jump into a type that you want. Say you want like 24/7 Gold Rush or whatever it's called. You could like jump in there, and then you have enough people in there that other people will join the server as well, which is cool.
We've got to play that first game, Savage. We got to play that at the first Whale LAN, because you've told me about it so many times and I've never played it.
It was old when I used to play it, and I used to play it when I was in university. So it's like it's pretty old at this point. But it's if you have two like commander projector screen type people, because basically one player on each team plays an RTS and everyone else on those teams plays essentially an FPS.
Whoa. There's Savage Resurrection.
What's that?
From 8 year coverage from 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Here, what is this? So this video is from The War Owl, has 250,000 views.
I know that creator, yeah.
This video is a paid promotion by S2 Games for Savage Resurrection, so it must be a cult classic from the tail end of the second golden age of gaming returns with Savage Resurrection. Was ahead of its time in 2003. Well, today is today. Savage has returned. So here it is. Yeah, apparently there's a relatively modern Savage, Luke. Interesting.
I had no idea.
Yeah. We're going to have to try it. I don't know if it's any good, but we'll definitely have to try it. I'll go to the Steam store. Ooh, reviews mixed.
Death sentence.
Don't be misguided by the positive reviews. This game is dead. There's no one online and no single player content. Devs made it pretty clear they won't be supporting this game anymore. Do not buy. This is from September of 2016.
I mean, that makes sense.
I'm
not surprised by that at
all. Yeah. So, yeah.
Like the first Savage, even I remember when someone was talking to me about it, I was like, "How does this make any sense? Like, this almost isn't viable outside of LAN parties at schools. Like, how is this game possibly viable at all?"
Notice, at the request of the publisher, Savage Resurrection is unlisted on Steam and will not appear in search. So this game is actually dead. Can you buy a game that's unlisted though? I actually don't know, and I'm not logged into Steam on this computer, so I'm kind of curious now. We're gonna have to try it
right now on the website. It doesn't.
You can't buy it, man. This is sad. The fact that games just are removed from storefronts and that's it. So sad. Apparently, there's also Savage XR.
16v16. So it's a 16v16 game with human commanders. So I think that means, I don't think that
34
maybe
players.
That means 15 versus 15 and then commanders.
Either way, that's pretty cool.
Not sure. Yeah.
Apparently, Savage XR is something as well.
What's that?
Savage XR. Download the RTS and FPS game. Okay. Well, this is a website. The free real-time strategy shooter for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Play for free. Be a commander or a warrior. Savage XR, the successor of the 2003 The Battle for New Earth, takes the best of the game. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, cool. That's probably worth checking out at some point, maybe. I don't know. Nice website, though.
Yeah, I don't know if their publishers or their developer is still doing anything or not. I do know that when there was that big rush for like Dota-style games, I'm pretty sure they were the ones that made Heroes of New Earth, because I think Savage was, Savage, the Battle for New Earth. So there's some random history there. STGames.com. Let's see.
Why don't we do our next topic?
Ooh.
Gaming in the USA is about to get tariffable. Yeah, I know. On November 25th, President-elect Trump promised a flat 25% tariff on goods coming into America from both Canada and Mexico, as well as a 10% tariff on goods from China. Some examples of things the U.S. imports from these countries are about 60% of their crude oil imports. Those come from Canada. Almost $1 billion worth of sugar from Mexico, but probably more relevant to our audience, a lot of tech products from China. For example, the Xbox Series X is almost entirely manufactured in China, as well as a ton of PC components. Discussion question here is, would manufacturing move back to the USA to help circumvent these tariffs? And we probably aren't going to get into a ton of detail on this on WAN Show, because we have a full video coming about this over the next little bit. I think it's coming out on Sunday. We basically kind of dive into the politics aside, math is math, why this is going to affect prices at the till, and why now may be a good time to kind of jump on a new PC or some new electronics. Our other discussion question, though, is, do you see any side effects from this, either positive or negative, other than just higher priced electronics? And one of the examples is Riley had an interesting take where he saw an interesting take where maybe subscription-based gaming services could boom because people don't want to buy the hardware, but wouldn't be paying a tariff tax on something like GeForce Now. Could we see like an unexpected a beneficiary of this?
Do you think things like GeForce Now might go up in price, though, as they have to pay more for their hardware?
No, because my understanding is NVIDIA does a lot of their manufacturing with Foxconn in Taiwan. Don't quote me on it being in Taiwan, but I'm pretty sure that NVIDIA's first-party cards are not manufactured in China, which is why Founders Editions were so cheap last time around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Just because NVIDIA is saving on tariffs on their cards doesn't mean that their retail price will necessarily be reasonable. But what it does mean is that their costs are fine. So they'd be happy to lease 100%. You those cards.
Yeah, if they see the competition going more expensive because of tariffs, they'll just go with them, probably.
Well, we talk about that in the video, how even if you've moved your manufacturing out, if the competitive landscape shifts and I don't know, everyone's paying this price anyway, you just, hey, thanks for the margin. So we kind of get into the corporate logic that accompanies the decision-making process that leads to things like shrinkflation and just generally higher prices.
Did you guys talk about the whole, like, I don't know the proper terminology for it, but when there's effectively a shell company in a country that's not being tariffed, and you sell your goods to them, ship it to them, and then they sell it to the States? Yeah.
We didn't talk about that. We basically just focused on the very, very, very simple, dumbed down version of just like, hey, when costs go up, price go up. Because as much as that may be common sense to a lot of people, it seems like there are some people who don't that.
I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't even know what tariffs are. So
yeah, it was really. Have you looked at the Google Trends?
No.
Oh, this is really funny. Check this out. Hold on. Wait for it. Check this out. You're gonna love this. Let's look at the past 90 days for no particular reason. Interest over time for search term tariffs spiked on, you guessed it, November 26th. I wonder why.
Huh. What's that spike before it? What's that one?
I don't remember. November the 8th. It reached its 61% of its November 26th high. Pretty funny.
Very interesting.
Yep. So, wait, sorry. Point of clarification. The rise. Sorry. I do know the answer to that. The rise after this is really funny. After the election was people being like, "Wait, what?" And then this was the recent announcement.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, so there was like a big peak in the lead up to the election, and then like a bunch of people figuring out after the election what tariffs were. All right, so that's something. So yeah, good luck everybody. Should be good. Yep, cool. Anyway, yeah, so we have a video coming on that. What else? Here's a big topic. HexOS has entered early access beta. So Luke, Eshtek, this is the NAS software company. This is my second investment, and this one was at a very different stage. This was like angel level, like first money into the company that is not from the devs directly. Eshtek, the NAS software company that I've personally invested in, announced yesterday, Thursday the 28th, that HexOS is going into early access beta. We actually have a full video coming tomorrow that is the first time that I saw it. I gave them the money 2 years ago. Can you believe it's been 2 years? 2 years ago. And in that 2 years, I literally didn't see it, other than a couple little like mock-ups of what the vibe was going to be. Like I hadn't gotten to try it at all. Jake got to try it before I got to try it. He got on a call with John. John got him all set up with the beta, and he like set it up and got some demos ready for us to do this video. So the video coming tomorrow is me, fresh eyes, hadn't seen it before, getting to experience HexOS and have some idea if they have a shot at all. Pretty exciting. To celebrate the launch, Eshtek is offering their lifetime license. I talked to them about lifetime license. I was like, look, I understand subscriptions are the way of the future. They support developers. They actually genuinely do. Not every company is all about just like wringing as much blood from their customer stone as possible through subscriptions. Sometimes it's just about having a sustainable business model. I get that. But I told them it was very important to me that a lifetime license would exist. They have taken that extremely seriously. A lifetime license will exist. It will be $300 per machine later. Right now, it is $99. It's $100.
Which is kind of nuts.
Well, remember, people are taking a risk.
Spoiler alerted that.
People are taking a risk, though.
Yeah, fair
Eshtek is a brand new company, literally brand new company. They just went out of hiding, and maybe they don't exist in the future, right? We acknowledge that in the video, and we talk about, what the mitigations would be for that, right? $100 is a lot to give something that is early access and something that we've talked about a lot on this channel, pre-ordering, right? But there are mitigations. So one is that it's built on top of TrueNAS. So even if they were to disappear, you would still have a TrueNAS NAS that's still TrueNAS. And number two is that they're offering a 30-day trial period where they will offer a refund if you're not happy with the product. So that helps a lot. So yeah, $99 for Black Friday. That will be available until December the 2nd. After that, early access to the lifetime license will be $200. So yeah, the video is going to go into a lot more detail, but the goal of HexOS is to focus on creating a user-friendly and simple interface so anyone who could install Windows XP should be able to install, configure, and use HexOS is basically where we're at. Actually, maybe a little better than Windows XP is what we would strive for. And that doesn't just include like file sharing. That should include things like Buddy Backup, which we'll talk about in the video. That should include things like setting up apps. Whether it's like Plex or Image, some of those just are like needlessly obtuse to set up and get working, just to have the basic functionality that you want going. And there's been kind of two takes. There's been two takes on this. One of the takes I've seen is, this is stupid, right? Like what? It's just a skin for TrueNAS? Like I already have TrueNAS. Like they want how many hundreds of dollars? And then the other take from people who don't post on Reddit has been to throw money at Eshtek. To say that they've had a pretty good initial launch would be a gross understatement, because as it turns out, the number of people that want the reliability and the trustworthiness of TrueNAS but don't want to faff about with arcane permissions and processes on TrueNAS is actually pretty big. So it's been an exciting couple of days for those guys, and yeah, I'm extremely proud of them. Really happy for them. It's pretty exciting. Elijah actually has a comment in here. He says, "Won't lie, kind of bummed out seeing how many people missed the point of this software and just immediately complained about the price. Personally, I think $300 is totally fine for a lifetime license to software, especially because I spent over an hour trying to figure out Plex on my TrueNAS setup. Lol." And then highlighted a comment that in particular made him upset, but I'm not even going to bother reading the comment because it's okay. I'll read one part of the comment. It said, "Just get a QNAP for a little bit more." It's like, right, but that QNAP you can't upgrade. That's how they get you. That's the subscription. Is if you ever want more bays, or if you ever want a decent amount of processing power, you're going to have to buy a new one. Software, baby. Software. So yeah, pretty exciting.
People have a lot of pretty good questions.
Yeah, Robotech asks, can HexOS run offline without any connection to their DEC login? That was something that they bunged up in their initial messaging for the product. Right now, you have to connect to the cloud dashboard, but at launch, they will have a local-only dashboard. And the reason for that,
necessarily buy things on a promise of features.
Yes, yes, that. But I believe that they have heard the community and understand the importance of local management. I mean, I told them the same thing. I actually found out about the lack of local management from that interview, and I was like, "Yo, I wouldn't use it if it couldn't be accessed without an internet connection." And they're like, "Okay,
fix that for sure."
Yep. Rysa asks, does the lifetime membership include all future updates? To my knowledge, it does. The best thing to do, though, would be to go to the HexOS website. So it's hexos.com, HEXOS.com.
There's some things that are still a little bit hard to, like in the text right above the deal, it says get early access to HexOS beta and limited access to HexOS and all its core features, asterisk.
So they will add new features that may be paid features, because some of the features that they add are going to have costs on their side. So they're doing some yeah, you don't use Home Assistant, but for any of you out there who use Home Assistant, for instance, you can set up Home Assistant for unpaid remote access, or you can pay them a subscription and they make it way simpler. They streamline the remote access process, and the reason that you have to pay a very, very reasonable subscription fee for that is that there are infrastructure costs on their end to maintain it. So I think the reason for the asterisk is that they will introduce features in the future that will be paid features because there's ongoing costs. You will not get anything that has an ongoing cost. For example, if they were to have a... Yeah, go ahead.
I completely agree with what you're saying. The problem, in my opinion, is the wording doesn't sound like that. The asterisk says some features will not immediately be available in HexOS beta, but a lifetime license grants you access to all features of HexOS forever, including cloud-based backup, premium support services, and other metered services, which makes it sound, considering it says all features, including other metered services, it sounds like quite literally everything is included forever to any degree, which doesn't seem legit because that doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. But I'm trying to find in a way that sounds like that.
I'm trying to find their forum. It's hub.hexos.com. If you guys have any questions, that's by far the best place to post it because, like I said, the first time I saw HexOS was like a week ago when we filmed that video. So take everything that I'm saying for what it is. Everything that I'm saying for what it is.
Did I just dyslexia a word?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I did. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. My bad.
Freaking me out of here because that really did sound pretty bad.
I was like, that makes no sense. And that makes sense because it didn't make any sense because I read it wrong.
Nice.
Excluding all the things that wouldn't make sense, like cloud-based backup, premium support services, and other metered services. Okay,
good
cool.
gravy.
Hooray.
Anyway, the last thing that I wanted to say about HexOS is that the coolest part of this project is that the other investor is iXsystems. And if you don't know who iXsystems is, here's a hint. They make TrueNAS.
Oh, wow. No way.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. So this is one of those things where I feel like a lot of people have gone, why would I want HexOS? I have TrueNAS. Well, yeah. If you know how to admin TrueNAS, then by all means, no one's telling you that if you don't need the handholding, then that's fine. But what I suspect is that for every one vocal person, who is saying like, this is stupid, I'll just roll TrueNAS, there's probably 100 people who have no interest in learning TrueNAS. TrueNAS is an enterprise tool. TrueNAS is not designed for home users, and it never, as far as I can tell, based on that, I've given them a lot of the feedback that I gave to the HexOS team about what HexOS should look like, and they haven't implemented it. TrueNAS is never going to be a consumer tool, and the fact that they invested in HexOS seems to be acknowledgement of that. They know they have a great product, a stable product, a good product, but it isn't this product. And they were like, okay, well, we could just invest in this product, and then we have a piece of it, and then they can make it. That's cool. By the way, John from Eshtek is texting me. He's like, "Oh my God, Luke, stop!" I just saw it. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck?" Blowing up my phone.
Well, if it's any consolation, I'm just like buying it right now, so I'm paying for my mistake.
All right. Okay. I think he'll get over it then. Anyway, cool. So yeah. I'm really excited about it. Really proud of what the team has done. You guys are going to see it in way more detail tomorrow. It's the product that only exists because John and Eric, the founders, and I share this belief that a DIY NAS shouldn't be hard. You shouldn't have to understand what is it, ACL, the access control permissions thing.
I still don't understand ACL.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
It's so hard.
You shouldn't have to understand ACL to set up a Plex container. You shouldn't have to. You should just Like the funny thing is a lot of these NAS platforms, like they have an app store, but they have fundamentally failed to understand what makes the app store. And when I say the app store, I mean Apple's app store. They have fundamentally misunderstood what makes the app store the app store. One click. That's what makes something an app store. That's the aspiration. And you know what? There's going to be stuff that's going to still be challenging on HexOS because you can't do anything about, how an open source developer of a particular app or container implements it. You can't be in charge of that. But what you can do is you can create tutorials. What you can do is you can simplify as many things as possible. I mean, even Jake, he was telling me about this just like off camera before we even started this project. He's like, yeah, dude, I looked at image like on a weekend and I was like, nope. And he went back and he figured it out later because he likes a challenge. But he's the kind of person who literally does this stuff for fun. And he's like, what are all these parameters? Why do I need all of this? I want my pictures from here to there. That's all I care about. Understanding what an average user actually cares about is something that I feel like a lot of folks don't. And that's something that the Eshtek team is really passionate about.
I would again. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. If it's any consolation to John, because I screwed up reading their site, I just bought it, so hopefully that helps. But
he wants a pound of flesh too.
Do you remember it's software in a beta, right?
He says buy two. He says buy two right now. Don't listen. Don't listen to him. Don't listen. One's enough.
Pay my penance. I'm only buying one, but I'm gonna probably use Linus as my buddy backup.
Yeah, man. I told you. I told Jake I wanted to do it as like an employee perk because we could make a video about it. And like we could, we could make a video about building like the cheapest petabyte or something like that. I think we'd have to cap certain people like Jake. But if we had like a buddy backup target at the office, that would be an offsite backup that wouldn't have an ongoing monthly cost. And that's the idea. That's the nirvana that I would think that making NAS more accessible could achieve. And in the long term, I could see them monetizing it. I could see them building their own like HexCloud or like Hex token. And I know as soon as you talk about tokens or coins or whatever, everything gets real cringe. But hold on a second. That's an actual like valid.
There are legitimate uses for it.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah. I think their payment portal might be having some trouble.
It's not the first time. I asked John how much I was allowed to share about the success that they've enjoyed over the last little bit. And he said, you can say that our mail servers went down from the surge when we launched. And we've been blown away by the initial response, and the first beta invites went out tonight.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. Great job. Also, it took a long time, but it did process. It went through. So their stuff is working. Good job.
Riley's comment is so funny. Okay, I'm going to read that comment that made Elijah mad. It said, with this $300, you can buy yourself a Linux course or book, and it will be infinitely more useful throughout your life. It will teach you how containers work, and you'll be able to install any Linux distribution of your choice, install Docker plus Compose, or Podman plus Quadlet, or Kubernetes, and set up your own NAS. As a bonus, you'll have a marketable skill. Riley's comment on this is, I ain't doing all that.
Yeah, Riley's got it.
I know,
based Riley.
That's just true.
Elijah says, I made the exact same face, Luke.
Elijah doesn't get it.
Dude, it's so painful. I don't know. I deeply respect the whole home lab idea, especially for IT people. But some people don't want to do that. And even people that want to, do professional development in their own free time, maybe they don't want to do professional development on that in particular.
It's a crazy idea to some people that just because someone fixes their motorcycle doesn't mean they want to fix their washing machine. Just because someone fixes their washing machine and their motorcycle doesn't mean they want to fix their computer. There are things that I DIY. like Dan loves this story about how I DIY'd putting new rubbers into my windshield wipers.
It's so base.
Because I didn't want to like throw away the entire apparatus. And I read somewhere that you could just replace the rubber, and it was a whole ordeal. He loves that. But the reality of it is I'm trying to think of something. When my garburator dies, I'll probably just hire a plumber to come put it in. I don't do everything myself because there are things that I'm passionate about or I want to learn about or that I'm interested in or that I have some requisite knowledge for. I'll usually spend a little bit of time figuring it out myself. Like when I installed my Ludwig bidet, I did that myself. I'm not going to hire a plumber to do something stupid like that. Like there's, everyone's got their limits and everyone's got their passion projects, but nobody has time to learn everything. And some people just want to pick their battles. And for some people, that battle is not a NAS. It ain't TrueNAS. And that's okay. And that's okay. Like if you make enough money, riding surfboards and beautiful women or whatever, that you can afford to hire someone else to fix your computer, then like that's great. And if you make enough money fixing computers that you can afford to buy a surfboard and wait, okay, hold on. This breaks down a little bit. The point is just that some people do. Sure, yeah. some if you could. Okay. The FTC is warning that a failure to commit to software support could be illegal. A new FTC report warns companies that failing to disclose how long they'll offer official support for their products may be illegal under the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. The report has been praised by public interest groups concerned about software tethering, which makes devices reliant on software updates from the manufacturer, and companies randomly deciding to brick devices like the Spotify car thing. The FTC examined 184 smart products and found that nearly 89% of manufacturers did not disclose this information on their product web pages. And if they do include it, some manufacturers bury this information in spec support pages or footnotes, and some use ambiguous language like lifetime technical support. Failing to disclose software support information could violate the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, which requires warranties to include a clear description of what is covered. So hey, Eshtek, John, I know you're watching right now. Yeah, make sure you're doing this. Cool. Thanks. That's my investor advice. Okay, it could also violate the FTC Act if the omissions or misrepresentations about software support are likely to mislead consumers. I don't know what to say other than Lina Khan based, and I'm going to be so sad to see her go, and I really hope that all these balls that she's started rolling don't just immediately get destroyed. Lina Khan, we want you here in Canada. If you're tired of what's going to happen to all the great work that you and your organization have done over the last little while.
That'd be sweet. You could come run it if you want.
Yeah, honestly,
I'd vote for you.
I'd vote immediately. Do we have the same? Do we have the same rules as the U.S. where you can't be prime minister if you're not a naturally born Canadian? Like you can't be president if you're not born in America. Can you be prime minister if not born in Canada? I looked that auto-completed. 23 people have served as prime minister since the office came into existence in 1867. Really? Only 23 people? Wow, okay. 19 have been born in Canada. 4 have been born outside of Canada, including John A. Macdonald. He's kind of a big deal prime minister or whatever. He's on our money. I don't actually know what he did.
Pretty important.
I don't know. I think they should just take him off and put Terry Fox on the money, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Dan wasn't talking into his mic, but he agrees.
No, that came through actually.
Yeah, that's why I sit over
Just
here
through
sometimes.
yours.
That's why I sometimes yell really loud while I'm over here, so it just comes through your mics. It's an effect.
You need to be able to speak French. I don't know. Lina Khan's based enough that she could probably learn French. I think she'd figure it out.
Yeah, I would like her more if she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're British. I mean, your biases are...
Everyone who isn't British is foreign. That's how it works.
Someone posted on the subreddit, is Dan British? And I was like, yeah, but we like him anyway. It's where the dry wit comes from.
One of those Canadians are the good ones, so don't push your luck.
Intel's Battlemage leaks. Intel's latest GPU, known as Battlemage Arc, may be launching soon, according to leaks. Amazon leaks. That's a sentence fragment. Anyway, leaks of pricing seem to fall in the $250 to $260 range, with one leaker implying that there will only be desktop GPUs, not discrete laptop GPUs this time around. Discussion question. Do you think, with Intel having a rough year so far, that this could be enough to get people excited for them again? I would be willing to get excited if the performance is really good in the $250 to $260 range, man. We need a valid, affordable GPU option. I need a valid option, guys. And talking about software support, they have taken Arc Alchemist, first gen Arc, from basically unusable garbage to actually working in the vast majority of games. Hardware Unboxed found that it worked in, what was it, 94 or 97% of games? He tested like over 250 games. That's pretty good. And the ones that didn't work, a lot of them were like old random stuff where he was basically trying to find stuff that it wouldn't work with. And often it was overcomeable because the game wouldn't work properly because it would not detect an Intel GPU as a discrete GPU, and it would think you had onboard, because back when that game was made, Intel discrete GPU wasn't even a twinkle in Pat Gelsinger's eye. So I really hope it's any good. I really hope it's any good. That's it. I hope it's any good. Finally, Ubitium is developing a RISC-V based universal processor. They're a semiconductor startup and have announced the development of a universal processor based on the RISC-V architecture. It's designed to handle a wide range of computing tasks, including CPU, GPU, DSP, and FPGA functionalities. Now, hold on just a gosh darn minute, because this sounds like complete hokum to me. Because to be both a CPU and an FPGA, you would have to have like the efficiency and cost effectiveness of a CPU, and also like the field programmability of an FPGA. Because an FPGA
can the opposite of that for the other one.
can be a CPU just fine. It's just like not a viable one. It's not a cost effective one. And they say they would do this all on a single chip. The universal processor is based on a workload-agnostic microarchitecture that allows the same transistors to be reused for different processing tasks, eliminating the need for multiple specialized cores. Okay. The company has built a proof-of-concept emulation that shows its universal processor works, allowing it to secure $3.7 million in seed funding to produce a working prototype in 2025. It was founded by veterans from NVIDIA, Intel, and Texas Instruments, including CTO Martin Vorbach, CEO Hyun-Shin Cho, and Chairman Peter Weber. Vorbach spent 15 years developing the technology behind the universal processor. They plan to launch their first chips in 2026, eventually developing a complete portfolio of chips from small embedded devices to high-performance computing systems, with their goal being to establish its universal processor as the new standard in the industry. I find this very hard to believe, but I was excited enough reading what seems like nonsense gobbledygook to me that I was like, I want this on WAN show. That's where I'm at on this. Neat. Good chat.
Yeah.
Rest Assured asks, I don't know why server chips from Intel didn't have FPGA sections years ago for specifically tuned functions. And the answer is because they are so expensive and inefficient. They're so expensive. Here's a great example. Those little USB fiber extender docks that I have from Icron. Okay. You would think like what? I don't know. USB, right? USB over like a Cat6 or a fiber cable or whatever, like that shouldn't be that complicated, right? Like the data rates aren't even that high. You can do 10 gig over a Cat6A cable. Surely you could do 5 gig. It's like, well, yeah, but it's a completely different protocol. So are they expensive? Yes, they are. Why? because everything in them is handled via FPGA, and they have to be high-performance FPGAs because of all the translation and tomfoolery that's taking place. This is a super cool product, very industrial product. It's meant for like if you need to run a bunch of like USB-based cameras for machine vision or something over fiber or Cat6 distances. Very cool product. I use them for workstations at home because they sent them. Like, I don't think I would pay that much to have USB.
Why doesn't
Thunderbolt exists.
Why does an FPGA make them so much more expensive, Linus?
Because in order to be field programmable, they have to be much, much lower density, and they have to be non-specialized. And they have to be changeable. So the way that they're architected is just completely different from an ASIC. But what they allow is they allow low volume products like this. Like if this was an ASIC, this thing would probably cost a third or a quarter as much. But the reason that you can't do it with an ASIC is because you would have to do the R&D that's involved in taping out an ASIC. And that cost you would never recoup from the number of these that you could possibly sell. So certain low volume products just never make it to the non-FPGA stage. Like FPGAs are often used for things like R&D for something that will become an ASIC. Another example of an ASIC-based product was Red Digital Cinema's Red Rocket cards. I don't know for a fact that it's an FPGA. I don't think I ever popped the heatsink off of one, but I can tell you because it was like a $2,000 card, it's almost certainly an FPGA. And because Red would have never done the volume of business that would have justified spinning, like taping out a chip. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah, FPGAs are super cool. They're just really, really expensive. But Dan says you can also send firmware updates that update the hardware. Yes, you can update the hardware of the chip. It's super cool.
That's super cool. I love them so much.
Yeah. But you better be ready for like, you know, a couple $100 FPGA so that you can play like in like Genesis games.
It's like the power of an Arduino, but costs $2,000 a CPU. They're great. They're great.
Oh, Sammy says, remember the G-Sync chips? Yeah, those were FPGA, weren't they? If I recall correctly, they were, and that was a big part of why they were so expensive. Yep, yeah. If something seems unreasonably expensive for like how much processing power is in it, it's almost certainly because it's an FPGA and not a volume manufactured ASIC.
Like what's the name of those retro consoles? Super premium retro consoles. They have a Game Boy.
Analog?
They have an old, analog. Their stuff is largely very expensive because they have FPGA chips.
Yep. And also because they just build premium products. I mean, look at them.
Yeah, fair enough, but still.
But also because FPGAs are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ratcheting is another example.
Is also rather premium, but
yep.
Yeah, she be costly.
Yep. All right, that's it for topics for today. So I think it's time for WAN After Dark. Very after dark for Luke.
Oh yeah, it's
I don't know, might be getting light soon.
It's 5:40 in the morning here.
Dude, did I show you the gym? Oh wait, I did. I sent you a picture.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Smash Champs gym is based. I went on the Stairmaster yesterday and the bike, just doing some of my cardio, and it's nice. It's nice.
It might be legitimately one of the first things I do when I get home is go to that gym. I want to see it. The picture looks good. Little man shows a good machine.
Oh, he was just posing.
Yeah, still.
For now.
If he wants to train in the gym in a way that will help him with badminton, that is a machine that would make sense to use. So, I don't know.
All right, nice.
Anyways.
Lucky. All right, Dan.
You want some merch messages?
I mean,
or do you want to self-direct
yourself? Whether I want them or not, I feel like... I
mean, there's a bunch of curated ones if you want to go down the list and read them while I just pop through the rest of these.
Oh, shoot. Do we still have incomings?
Oh, they're no longer coming in as fast. I'm just working through the backlog that was about 170. So,
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's been... you know what? Before we get started, now is probably a good time to tell you guys, hey, thank you so much for your support. We are having an absolutely wild Black Friday. And the show has changed the numbers more than I expected. I just brought up the report just now. Yeah, we're having a ridiculous Black Friday. So thank you guys all for being part of the team's success here. Appreciate you all.
I have been doing 4 a minute for the last 2.5 hours.
Nice. Let's go, Dan. So you dropped a gentle hint that you'd like me to just read them myself.
If you click on the incoming merch messages at the top, it'll collapse that.
Yeah, I'm already there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks for the tech tips.
Yeah.
Okay. Nick C. didn't ask this, but I'm curious. Want to tell us about your trip?
Oh,
are you not
sure.
able to?
Yeah. No. I'm just thinking what has all even happened.
Well, you almost got stuck like sleeping at a train station. Maybe I can wait to hear that station until you get back.
No, I think it's fine.
All right, let's hear it.
It's not near me, so like
okay.
It doesn't matter.
Do it.
Yeah, so I was planning on I have this habit of traveling without much of a plan, and I actually really enjoy the outcome. I don't recommend it to anyone, but I tend to enjoy the outcome. I've had some fantastic experiences that would have never happened if I had much of a plan. But I had an inkling of an idea of something that I wanted to do before I came here, which was go snowboarding in the Alps. I knew I was going to be somewhat close, so I brought some of my gear. Obviously not my like board and boots, because that's kind of a lot to haul around, but I brought a lot of my other stuff. And I had planned to go. Now, I left a little bit late one day, but there were still trains going, like it was fine. I also ended up being late to one of my... So I left a little bit late, but there was multiple trains that I could have caught afterwards, so it was going to be fine. And then Google Maps was all messed up because there was a ton of construction going on, so I ended up missing one of my trains, and the next train wasn't coming for an hour. So then I was even later, and I was now on this is the last set of trains that will get you to your destination.
Yeah.
Stage, which is never good to be in, especially when you're in a country that you're not used to being in. And then I get most of the way there. I'm now many hours away from Paris, which is where I was situated for the OVH event. And there's I wouldn't say a bunch, because I mean, it's the last train of the night. There's really not that many of us. But there was probably about like 20 or so people waiting at the station for a train. And then the train just didn't show up.
Sounds like a skill issue. Maybe you need training.
There was an announcement that went over the PA, something to do with the train not showing up, and then most people just left immediately, and there was probably about like 5 to 7 of us left afterwards, hanging around the station trying to figure out what's going on. The station itself was actually like stunningly nice. Oddly enough, like
nice.
there was a climbing
That's
wall
handy.
in the train station.
What?
That, as far as I could tell, you didn't even have to pay to like. You just had to bring your own equipment, like ropes and belts, because it had like the things to loop into while you're going up, and it's like free access climbing wall, plants inside. Super, super nice train station. So I was like, okay, well, I guess this is going to be the first time I'm like homeless for a night when traveling. Because I travel with no plan, I kind of thought this would happen eventually, but because I travel with no plan, I always thought it would be my fault, not a train just not showing up. So I'm like legit. I'm texting Linus, Linus and Emma. To be fair, I was also texting Emma, but talking about like the situation that I'm in, and genuinely settling in to just like sleep on a bench for the night.
He wasn't happy about it.
Next train,
he was super not thrilled. He was like very cranky about this prospect. It was pretty funny now that it's anyway.
The main thing that was concerning me about it was that, like, you know, I had my like laptop and stuff with me. So, okay, I'm a pretty deep sleeper too. So like, okay, I'll strap it to me and whatever, but someone could just open the bag. So I was not stoked about that. But then,
I mean, realistically, the French are more likely to surrender than like take anything from you. So
they'll drape a big white blanket over you.
Oh my goodness. Shut up. So
They had one warlord emperor ever, and they never forgot about it.
They're just gonna slip a orange jacket over him too.
Stop it!
He will join the fight.
You got to stop chirping, or else you're going to start another war between the British and the French.
They just
like
lose.
10 billionth one. Yeah. Well, at this point, I think it would be the EU versus people that made bad decisions, but I don't know.
What, like leaving the EU? The best decision? I'm not upset. I could have worked anywhere in the EU. I'm not upset.
Now he's stuck here. We have you forever, Dan.
Got him. Okay, so yeah, one of the first things I did was like check, hotels in the area. And I went to 2 different ones, and neither of them had any vacancy. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm screwed. I started to settle in, and then the people that administrate, it wasn't police officers, but like the people that administrate the train station came up and went to go kick everybody out. I don't think Linus knows this part of the story, because I was trying to figure out what was going on, because I was informed I might have just been dumb. Turns out I wasn't, but I was still trying to figure it out. But yeah, they go to kick us out of the train station. I can't understand French, so I'm just kind of like standing there watching some of the guys I was with get in a heated argument with the people that are trying to kick us out, because they're like, well, it's the train's fault that we're stuck here, so like you shouldn't kick us out. The next train's technically coming in like 4 hours, because the first one in the morning is super early. So like just let us sit here for 4 hours. Who cares? Ultimately, they kick us out. I tell one of the security guards, like, okay, how do I like contact the train station? Because I had to buy another ticket. So like, how do I get a refund for my one for today? And he's like, oh, it wasn't a train. It was a bus. And I was like, what? So like, I was just stupid standing inside and the bus left behind me or something.
Oh no.
Oh man. And I'm like, well, okay, all these other people thought it was a train, and I thought it was a train. Like, were we all just wrong? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, all right. So I'm now being kicked out. So I'm like, okay, it's raining really bad outside. I don't really want to sleep in the rain. So I keep trying to find hotels. I walk up, they're all closed, but I walk up to one of them and I just stand outside the door for like a while. And then eventually somebody comes by and just like opens the door. They had no vacancy. I go do that to another hotel, and they had 1 room left, and it was super cheap. And actually, it was very cheap, and it had one of the best like free breakfasts I've ever had anywhere. It was super good.
That checks out.
Like,
that's France for you, man.
I was stunned at how good the breakfast was. So I crashed there for like a few hours, and then got back to the train station. And no, the dude that kicked me out was wrong. It was a train. So
did you get a refund?
Which no, I haven't figured that out yet. I'll still try to figure it out. But that was actually worse, because I spent so long running around trying to find this bus.
Oh, dude.
It wasn't a bus. So I was literally like, especially as the time until departure kept getting closer and closer and closer, I was legitimately like sprinting around trying to figure out like where the hell this bus stop is. But Google Maps kept insisting, like if I looked on Google Maps, the line was on the train track.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's gotta be the freaking train.
Well, it's a rail bus.
But yeah, I ended up figuring it out.
Imagine Sagi
I got on the train and it was fine.
Asks a question that I know the answer to, but I feel should be acknowledged. Uber not a thing over there?
Uber to the destination that I would have gone to, what if I remember correctly, was legitimately like $400.
Yeah. So
I'm not paying that.
Yeah.
No chance.
I know he can afford it, but I know he won't pay it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Which Emma was mad at me about. She didn't want me sleeping in the train station when I could have just got that Uber.
Okay.
But I was like, dude, there's no way.
Things are about to get really spicy for a second. Things are about to get super spicy, because I think there's going to be a double standard in your relationship.
I would have bought her
Hold on. You're not even going to let me finish. You mock her.
chance.
You mock her. You mock her for not wanting you to sleep in the train station. But if she was going to sleep in a train station, you 100% would be like, no, I won't allow it. 100%. 100%.
If she didn't want to book it, I would have booked it to her location instantaneously. There's no chance. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. I knew the answer before I even started talking. I was like, there is no way he would let Emma sleep in a train station.
Yeah, I mean, there's, yeah.
And there's, to be clear, this is not just Luke being some kind of Manoverse toxic whatever the fuck or whatever. There's legitimately a far lower chance of Luke being assaulted in, overnight in some, remote area with no supervision or whatever. It's like actually, it is actually like a numbers game that is a very different numbers game for him versus a, like 120 soaking wet lady,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
exactly.
Emma, if I got that wrong one way or the other, I'm so sorry. I have no idea how much you weigh, and if I did know because I'd looked that closely, I wouldn't admit it in front of Luke. So that's where we're at.
The only reason why I had no reaction to that is I don't either. So I don't know.
All right, perfect. Then we're good. Right?
I'm calling her right now.
No! I think the question is, why does Dan have her number? There, boom. Deflected.
Oh.
You both know why.
That's
Should we do
true.
some merch messages?
Yeah, we should. Oh, man.
Luke!
She better not call. I hope she's not watching.
I'm getting texts. Luke, what is a memory that will always make you laugh from the Hacker Conference?
The hacker conference. That will make me laugh.
While you think, I have a little message from a robot at dBrand. Read all 1,500 of these comments. Might be the highlight of the year. Everyone in the org super proud. It was a great video. I really enjoyed. They really did like roll out the red carpet or the lights completely off, glow in the dark carpet. The tour really was very self-guided, even though obviously like I wasn't alone in the building. Like, let's have some common sense about it. But it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. Genuinely really cool to see their operation. They really do make actual goods here in Canada, which is a thing that not a lot of companies do. And they run a really clean operation. They've had a few challenges lately, which they have acknowledged and have been working really hard to overcome. And they promised us that by the time this launch went up, they would have things smoothed out. And it seems like things are ticking quite a bit better over there in terms of like communication. It's been slow communication due to some internal systems changings over. And I didn't fully understand what it was because there was a bunch of jargon to do with like CRMs and management systems that I don't deal with on our side. Like, it's all run by the Creator Warehouse team. But I was like, I nodded and I was like, okay, but it's going to be solved. And they're like, yeah, we got you. I'm like, okay. But yeah, really fun. They didn't say anything about the ruined vinyl. They actually, never brought it up to me. I'm sure they think it's funny though. My favorite comment on the video, they actually linked me my own comment, which is funny, was to whoever at LTT might actually read this. Whoever had the idea to film a DeskPad product placement in front of dBrand's unreleased stuff and have it be painstakingly blurred by the editor needs a raise. And I'm only partly joking. That level of thinking outside the box and being able to look at another company's confidential unreleased stuff and think, this is where we film our marketing spot. It's perfect. Is a level of creativity or whatever you call it that can't be taught or trained. That was shockingly fantastic. 11 out of 10 will watch again. In lieu of a raise, please pass on my admiration if you don't mind. Big mad props. And I responded, thanks. I'll give myself a raise. I've actually gotten to write a little bit more than usual lately, and it's been really fun. I got to do the Equinix Equinix, excuse me. I got to do the Equinix tour. I got to do the dBrand tour. That one wasn't really written. The Equinix tour was actually written. Like I did the tour and then I wrote it. And I never get to do that anymore. And then the dBrand one was mostly just kind of ad-libbed, and they actually provided a lot of sort of guidance for what the flow would be, but I was just kind of doing my thing. Yeah, a lot of fun. And I thank you. Thank you for noticing. I also thought it was very funny. And thank you to poor editor who had to deal with that. Thank you. All right, Luke. Hacker conference.
I do have an answer to that. So in general, it was an absolutely amazing conference. I plan to go next year. It was super fun. The people I was with was absolutely amazing. I hope I get to hang out with the same group next time. But I don't think it was like particularly noticeably high on humor. So what I'll give my answer as was the loop. The funniest thing to me the whole time I was there, I think, was the Tesla loop thing. We did that. I don't think I've talked to Linus about this at all, but you know the tunnel?
Yeah.
And they had
it's just a car on a road, right? Like it's
so stupid. It's so dumb. It's really cheap, which is nice, but because of how cheap it is, they are absolutely unquestionably losing money on it, hand over fist constantly, because not only is it just a car on a road, there's drivers. It's not even like automated. You actually get in a car with someone else and they drive you through this stupid tiny little loop thing. It's so dumb. It could have been, those like, I don't actually know what you call them because escalator would imply you're going up. But those flat conveyor belt kind of things that they have in airports that just make you like move faster when you're walking, or you can stand on it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Moving walkway. Sure. They could just have
moving
like
sidewalk,
a huge moving walkway.
Travelators. They're called travelators? That is such a cool name. I love it.
That is actually kind of
If it's not the real name, I don't care. That's my headcanon now.
So they could have just had a travelator, and honestly, it would have been fine because you have to wait for your stupid manually driven Tesla to show up, and then you have to like quite legitimately deal with traffic, and you have to buy this annoying ticket thing. You have to do it through the app. I couldn't even buy it because like something, I don't know, Canadian. So like Theo had to buy my access for me, which felt so stupid, but thank you, Theo. If there was just like a huge travelator, it would have been fine. It was actually just like mind-blowingly dumb to the point where it was fun. So I'll give that as my answer.
All right, Dan.
Hey, LLD, thanks for the free shipping. Making the most of it. Yeah, you are. If you had the ability to remaster a product you released, justifying the additional research and development time, what product would you work on?
Ooh, remastered product. See, the thing is, I have the resources to remaster something if I really wanted to. Remastered product. Man, I can't even remember all the products anymore. I kind of wish we had a product archive. I've seen some customers ask us for it before, and I could actually really use it whenever people ask me stuff like this. Man, something that we didn't. H. Rognus says the Christmas album. Absolutely
a lot
not.
Of people are saying that.
Good try. Good try. Good try. Is that why you curated that stupid thing?
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
For once in my life, I'm being honest with you.
I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe you at all. Yeah.
What if a remastered version of the Christmas album existed? Would you?
I would never acknowledge it. It is not my son.
I have started getting my yearly emails again. I get emailed every time a purchase is done on the forum. And that's still the only way that we distribute the Christmas album. So every winter I get random like a purchase was made on the forum because it was uploaded by my account. And how the purchasing system on the forum works is there's a commission system built in. So I get 0% commission every time, but because it's still technically a commission system, even though it's $0.00, it emails me every time letting me know, congratulations, you just made $0.00.
Oh, it's like when I get my paycheck.
Come on.
After all these taxes, coming from self-employed was like radicalizing.
Compact Disc called you out. Luke with the not so subtle telling people how to buy it.
Hey man, I'm trying to make you money. Come on.
I don't want that money. I want people to spend their money on stuff that's good. The Christmas album is not good. Ned's a Life says the potato sack hoodie. Okay, sure. A remastered potato sack hoodie would be kind of cool, like a sick potato sack hoodie. Not at all like a hint at an upcoming product.
If you redid the screwdriver, you could call it the two driver.
All right. So anyway, I need my own bell. I'm going to need my own bell. Ding the bell. That's an order, soldier.
There you are, sir.
You've made nearly $5,000 on the Christmas album. You'll probably pass $5,000 on the Christmas album this year.
What does that make me? So if what was platinum is how many records, Dan? You
I think it's like 1 million.
Okay, so then gold would be how many?
I don't know, 100,000.
Okay, so then how far do we have to go down? We got silver, we got bronze, we got wood. We've got
those exist.
Dog
Is there like silver and bronze for
no,
albums?
of course not.
Gold's 500,000.
I'm making jokes, Luke, for crying out loud.
I know. Could
I get a cardboard album for selling $5,000 worth of Christmas album?
That would be pretty funny, actually.
Well, if you did 5,000, then hold on. There's some other ones. There's Oro, Platinum.
I think we would have had to sell 1,000 units to make $5,000. So what do you get for 1,000 albums, Dan? Sawdust album, dBrand sticker album.
It's $3 each. It's $3 each.
Oh, okay. So we sold like 1,300 albums.
Oh, okay, so but it's $3 American though. I didn't think about that.
Oh my God, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the RIAA anyway.
So let's see. You would have made 0.003 $3 from Spotify plays.
Wow, that's something. These sound like participation awards, says Smallish Potato. Yes, that's the point.
I don't think that even counts as participating. That's just like misclicks. It's a margin of error.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Remastered product. I'm going with potato sack hoodie. There. Fine.
That sounds nice. That's
all right.
A good hoodie. Halfway through a PhD and started watching in 7th grade. PhD is on wireless ICs for implantables. Linus, as a previous user of the Oura ring, would you implant something of the sort? What risks affect that choice?
For me, the biggest obstacle to using something like a smart band is dealing with taking it on and off and charging it. So if it was something that I could just implant and it could like charge itself off my body heat or something, I think I would. I mean, as long as it's made out of like, medical grade steel or, something glass or something inert. I assume glass is kind of inert. I'd be pretty into it. I mean, before the COVID lockdown thing happened, we were planning a road trip down to somewhere in Seattle to get RFID things in our fingers. Like we were all going to do it. We were going to make a video about it. I'm into it. I don't know that I'd do like serious augmentation, assuming that like a, bionic eye that could come out and see behind me was available tomorrow. I don't know that I would do that, but I think that something like an implantable health monitor or something seems pretty innocuous.
It's like hot glue a mirror to your shoulder. There you go. Implantables.
Rysaw asks, do we have your permission to pirate the Christmas album?
Oh my God.
Absolutely not. Because you shouldn't be listening to it. It's not about the money or not money.
Why would you even say its name?
It's about the fact that nobody should listen to it. It's terrible. All right.
It's the nobody should listen to it thing is true because it's actually so angelic that it's not made for human consumption.
Stop it.
It's too good.
Nick says we're going to build a product archive when the new site comes online. So that's cool. And he also says, don't oversell the socks before they're actually for sure, you numpty. I was talking about the socks earlier. Whatever. I think they're promising. They're promising. I'm excited. Okay.
Hello. Wanted to slowly buy a new computer and buy used over the next year. What do I need to know and what do I do to know how and what I'm buying is working? Is it worth it for a higher end PC builds?
No, you should never buy a part that you don't have something to plug it into, because that part will only depreciate. Well, I mean, okay, there's the tariff thing, but in general...
It's not technically always true, but it's a pretty good general rule.
Yeah, but what you should do is you should take your loonies, that's what we call $1 here in Canada, because whatever. You should take your loonies and you should put them somewhere where they are safe and will not be spent. And then when you have enough loonies, you should buy it in one fell swoop. That's the way to do it.
What about rising inflation?
Dan, fine. You take your loonies, you put them in an appreciating asset class, and then you hope that it appreciates at the same rate as inflation. I don't know. The point is just that I am pretty sure that the inflationary devaluation of your loonie is going to be less of an issue than the march of progress devaluing the parts that you buy.
Yeah, give it 6 months.
The whole naming behind a loonie is pretty straightforward. It's not that hard to grasp.
Yes, I know it's a loon on it.
It's got a bird on it.
I know why it's called a loonie.
Put a bird on it.
All right, enough.
Bird up. Linus, who's the most famous person you've ever met? Sincerely, an Aussie who is now broke, but at least not due to shipping. That's a big amount.
Say yourself. Do it. Do it.
No. Well, okay. I don't know if I met Paris Hilton, but I complained about her, and she was there in person.
Being mean to somebody across the room does not count as meeting them.
I don't know. I that could kind of count, right?
What does that even mean?
Well, look,
What?
You complained about her and she was there?
Because I was at a BMW event. They literally sponsored me to be there and make a video about their event. And when I asked to go in the concept car, they were like, no, nobody's allowed in the concept car. And I'm like, Paris f***ing Hilton is in it right now while you're telling me that nobody's allowed to be in it. If she can go in it, then I can go in it. I'm literally paid to be here by you. Help me help you. So like she was
pretty good.
She was right there.
I don't think that counts as met though. That counts as seen. I don't think that counts as met.
I saw her.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You saw her.
I interacted by proxy with her.
You were by proxy not as important as her. You didn't get to sit in the car.
I attended a seminar given by Kris Jenner.
Did you meet them or did you witness them?
There was only a couple hundred of us there. Small seminar.
Shake hands.
Did you talk to her though? Like did you
No.
That's what I'm saying is there's
I got an answer. I got an answer. I know, I'm just messing with you. I obviously know I didn't meet those people. Probably the most famous person that I have met is NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. And he might not be famous in the way that we think of like famous, but he is very famous. Especially now that NVIDIA has become the world's most valuable company, and like Jim Cramer's talking about him and everyone's talking about him. He's very famous right now.
4 or 5 years ago, but I fully agree now. Yeah.
I don't, man, see, this is embarrassing because I always forget. Like, I think I have met a handful of like real celebrities. I have met Mr. Beast. I guess that's valid, but I kind of don't count YouTubers. So I've met lots of famous YouTubers. I met Mark Rober, he's real famous. But like when you say fame, I mean outside of a niche. When you are literally the CEO of the world's most valuable company, that's a different kind of fame. That's household name fame.
The best word.
I guarantee you more people know Mr. Beast's name than Jensen Huang.
Somebody in the zeitgeist.
But I would say a wider variety of people. And actually, I don't even know if that's true, Luke, because Jensen Huang's fame is international. I suspect most Chinese people don't give two shits about Mr. Beast. I also
think there's a very vast amount of people that don't give two shits about Jensen Huang or NVIDIA or even stocks that know who Mr. Beast is. And I'm not just saying because they're kids. I'm saying like income situations where that's just honestly irrelevant to you. Would still know who Mr. Beast is.
That's fair. People are saying Deadmau5. I don't think Deadmau5 is more famous than any of the people we're talking about, but I've definitely met Joel. Yeah, I can't think of. Shortcut says.
I think you're underselling YouTube.
Shortcut says Mr. Beast isn't a niche, but also kind of is. Like, the thing is, most of the people I interact with in my daily life do not know who Mr. Beast is because they're adults.
Yeah, I mean, the Mr. Beast Squid Game thing got over 300 million views, didn't it?
Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of people in the world. There's definitely a lot more than 300 million people that have a GPU. I'll promise you that. Like, there's levels of mainstream. I would say Paris Hilton is a lot more of a knowable.
Knowing about NVIDIA is not the same as knowing about Jensen. Like, I guarantee you, I know people that are into tech that, despite NVIDIA's recent success, don't know who Jensen Huang is.
To be clear, I'm not arguing Jensen is more famous than Mr. Beast. I'm just saying I don't really count YouTube fame because I see it as like big fish, small pond, and it's a pretty damn big small pond at this point. It's a huge small pond.
So I was wrong. The Squid Game video doesn't have 300 million views. It has 672 million views.
It's absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. But you can watch that video without knowing or caring who the host is. 100%. And I suspect a lot of people did.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But
I think way more people use NVIDIA products without knowing who the CEO is than watch a Mr. Beast video that is hosted by Mr. Beast and don't know who Mr. Beast is.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I'm just saying there's different kinds of fame. I consider YouTube fame a little less famous than a barrier breaking fame, right? Like,
for sure. No, I agree.
Mr. Beast has a lot more views on YouTube than Paris Hilton, but I would say that she is more, from a conventional standpoint, famous than Mr. Beast because it's just a name that fucking everyone knows whether they watch Simple Life or not. You just know who she is. The daughter of the Hilton fortune, because everyone knows what a Hilton hotel is. Like, there's different kinds of fame.
Is that a generational thing, though? Because, like, we know
possibly,
her, but I don't think she's talked about in any circles very much anymore.
Is she still a DJ?
She comes up every once in a while. But you're right. She definitely had a moment, but she's more in the background now. And so, you're right.
She was big for our generation for sure. I just don't think she is anymore.
That's fair enough. Porto asks, is Seth Curry more famous than Jensen Mr. Beast? Absolutely not.
No.
Anyone who is like, other than I would say football, and by football I mean soccer. Other than soccer, I'd say if you're in an American sport league, you absolutely cannot be like worldwide famous. Not really. There'll be pockets where that sport's really popular, like they might know a famous baseball player in Japan, for example. But it's American. The fact that America calls their sports championships World Series and stuff is like an actual joke outside of America. Like, we think you guys are really funny for doing that because most people elsewhere do not give a shit. Like, India's watching cricket, not actually I think basketball might be pretty big there, but the point is just that they don't have the kind of penetration outside of the US that you might think.
My wife loves all the women's products. She wants to know how She wants to know thoughts on Great Gatsby on Broadway you saw a few months ago.
It is so good.
She's followed it very closely.
It's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. It's like maybe the best play I've ever seen. Maybe the best. It's so good. Go watch it. It's so good. Gripping performances, beautiful music. I love it.
When purchasing a mystery screwdriver, do you actually try to mix the colors when possible or just grab whatever? When are we getting ratcheted fidget toys?
I don't know if the fidget toy is ever going to happen at this point. But as for mixing colors, these are not mystery in the sense that they have all the like different random colors of the rainbow. It's mystery in that it's one of our screwdriver SKUs. Like it could be retro or Noctua or a regular one, and you get what you get.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm a foreign medical graduate, but haven't taken my exams because reasons. What are some tips you have for staying the course and finishing what you started?
Well, as someone who never finished my degree, you are definitely asking an interesting person this question.
As someone who also never finished their degree, but I think Linus and I can both talk about this outside of just education stuff. I think you have to forget about motivation. Motivation is only good to start doing something. It will not keep you doing something. You have to use other systems, whatever that is.
Drugs.
Determination, will, whatever you want to use. Sure. But motivation isn't going to keep you doing something forever. You have to find a different thing.
Find new motivation. Yeah, I think that's really good advice.
Learn to love the work. Hey, LLD, do you think industrial design, the field, still has its influence in 1, mobile tech, 2, home tech, and like it did a decade ago? Sort of like the LG Wing sliding and folding phones.
I mean, yeah, industrial design absolutely still has some fun influence. I mean, just because Apple ships the same brick-shaped phone every year doesn't mean that other companies are doing that. I mean, that Huawei trifold, for all of the disastrous launch it might have had, is definitely a new thought, an exciting thought, and it came from a designer's pen at some point. You know, someone had to go. Okay, someone had to have a reason to engineer that. You know, as for home tech. Absolutely. I think, if anything, our home tech, and I think a category that exemplifies this really well is speakers. Our home tech looks so much better today than it did a decade ago. Like, you can have a really nice speaker setup in a room that is like stealthy, like it blends right in. I love it. I'm super into that. Sebastian in the chat in Floatplane says, as an industrial designer, yes. So he works for Creator Warehouse. If you guys didn't see his AMD Ultimate Tech upgrade, it's really good. It's really good. The table he made is beautiful.
All those pins you're buying is him. He also helped me design the table for my MCM upgrade thing too.
Sick.
Hey, DLL, big howdy from Japan. That is incongruous. With so much talk online lately about Microsoft's strategy with the Xbox brand, I'm curious about your opinions on it and what would you do differently?
Man, it really just seems like they're in a transition phase right now. You know, on the one hand, they're a traditional game console maker. On the other hand, they're a software company, like a multi-platform software company. On the other hand, they're like a cloud streaming gaming service provider. On the other hand, they're a non-streaming games as a service provider. And it just kind of feels like they have a finger in every one of these pots all at once, whereas, you know, companies like Nintendo have maintained their laser focus on one thing, and it seems to be pretty helpful. I think Xbox as a brand is in kind of a rough place right now. Like, it used to be PlayStation Xbox was one of the fanboy fights for the ages. And I just don't see a lot of fight in the Xbox side right now. There doesn't seem to be a compelling reason to be a fan of Xbox.
Yeah.
They just seem really confused about the direction. Yeah, I'm Campbell. Just they will always be very confused about the direction. Yeah, I would like to see them commit. I'd like to see them figure out what the heck they are. Like, is every Windows PC an Xbox? And if that's the case, then you need to make the Xbox gaming experience way better on the Windows PC. Like, why are handhelds such a clunky experience today when you guys have all of this deep knowledge and experience building great user interfaces? The Xbox has a really intuitive user interface. It's pretty darn good. Let's see you guys, take that power and bring it to the PC. And I understand all the reasons it won't happen. It comes down to piracy, right? It comes down to anti-cheat and piracy. But I don't know. I'm rooting for them. I hope to see them solve it as a PC gamer.
Turn 360 degrees and turn away. Hey, LLD, love the show and love the free shipping deal as an Australian fan. I have a QD OLED TV like Linus has. What's the best or recommended way to clean your TV screen without causing damage?
A little bit of water and a microfiber cloth. And if there's any like grease on it or whatever from fingerprints, then a little bit of water and a microfiber cloth and patience.
Hello, DLO. I teach math, and I'm flabbergasted when my students don't know how to submit their work as a PDF. Our kiddos' lack of computer basics is worrisome. What do you recommend I do to remedy this?
Oh, dude, I don't even know. That article recently, what was it on? Was it on The Atlantic? I can't remember. About how kids are arriving in college having never read an entire novel.
I read a book.
There was a follow-up article that I was in the middle of reading today, and then I got distracted. So I'm glad we're close to the end of WAN show, so I can remember. I can go read it. But basically, I don't know what we're supposed to do about this. Like, people don't know how to troubleshoot. They don't have basic computer skills. They don't know how to. It's not that they don't know how to read. They know how to read, but they don't know how to sit and read. And I don't know. Maybe books are outdated, but like, I can't think of a more, man, how do I say this? Video's great, but nothing works as a reference material the way that reading does. And not having that skill, not having that ability to parse written word is scary.
This is a very large part of, we were talking earlier about the social media ban in Australia. This is a very large part of why I'm so supportive of it. Is I think, the world being super connected and information being at our fingertips and all that kind of stuff is generally a good, I think. I think there's a lot of good content on the internet. I would like to think that we make good stuff. But it's also built to be, the platforms are generally built to be all consuming. And the level of, I know it's just a term right now, but it's real. The level of brain rot that you can get from just sitting and losing your entire day, your entire week, your entire year, just pouring into TikTok or whatever else it is, having absorbed nothing because your brain is just mildly observing the most brain rot, quick garbage content it possibly can, and then moving on is not good for people. Learning the ability to get absorbed into a particular piece of content, like being able to sit and read and enjoy that, is actually a good thing, because it's, I don't know. The second you're stuck in a scenario where you don't have your phone, having people like genuinely fall into some amount of a panic because their brain is so used to this constant, insanely high level of stimulation is just bad. Like there's no way around that. That is terrible. You are setting yourself up to be absolutely controlled by whatever corporate interest feels like controlling you at any particular point in time. And that's just a bad idea. And exposing kids to that super early on, I don't think is good. But anyways.
Gouch says, if you're a teacher and your students don't know how to do a thing that you need them to do, then teach them how. But you missed the part where they're a math teacher. Like there's only so much power we have as individuals, and you can't control what kids are doing at home. I think that simultaneously teachers are given less and less resources and more expected job functions. I mean, they're not parents, right? I'm sorry, Faisal. I got nothing for you, and I have the same concerns that you do.
Hey, DLL, with the coming advent of smart glasses with cameras, how will they be handled on the privacy side? Bringing them into bathrooms, locker rooms, recording with phones is obvious, glasses is not.
It's going to be a big problem. It's going to be a huge problem.
Recording with phones is also not obvious. And this is already a huge issue. And I think this is the same type of problem that we had. I'm going to relate this in a really weird way, but like, when people become, no, I'm actually going to skip that because it's not very good. But when people become complacent about something, it becomes a security issue. If someone's like waiting for a stall in a bathroom and they just have their phone out and they're just, scrolling through news articles or whatever, you're not going to be concerned about it. When phones were first a thing, if you pulled it out of your pocket at all in a bathroom, people would freak out.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned.
That is no longer a thing.
Still makes me uncomfortable. I never take out my phone in the bathroom, and I
Lots
expect other people not to.
Yeah, but they do.
I would avoid them if they do.
Most people are chill with it. Sorry?
I would avoid them if they do. Like
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair.
And if it's kind of pointed at me, I would ask them not to. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Totally. I think culturally, I'm not saying it's a good thing or that people should have. I'm just overall culturally, I think most people have moved on from that. And I mean, you can have it in your pocket with like the top slightly sticking out. Like I think people have become less concerned about the backs of phones pointing at them. And there's no indication that a phone is recording.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of other devices we talk about it, but the phone, no.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, I think it's just going to be a thing. I think in general, the world is moving towards stalls with more proper doors as an interesting side effect. So this might be less of a problem.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. More change rooms with private changing spaces. I don't really understand why that wasn't a thing in the first place. I've never been super into just like seeing a bunch of like guy bums.
Yeah.
Like it's as much not wanting to look at anyone else as it is not being particularly stoked on just like dropping trow with a bunch of strangers. But I never did team sports, so I never really like got used to it.
Yeah, having done team sports, it doesn't really bother me, but I absolutely understand why it would bother people. And I have never understood why. In some situations, I understand as a cost-saving measure. But in a lot of places, it's like, no, you definitely have the money for this. It shouldn't have been a big deal. I don't know.
L and D are right. We need more tall stuff.
Yes. You're going to curate one of these every week?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's not related to that. What's your favorite part of the dBrand tour? Did you see anything cool or have a takeaway that could be used to improve Creator Warehouse workflows?
I mean, I leave it to the Creator Warehouse team to figure out the workflow stuff, but I think the coolest thing was probably the art stations. So the pickers and packers have a designated time every day, a certain amount of the day, that they do arts and crafts. I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
Stop reading into every merch message that I curate. They don't all have an agenda.
I noticed you didn't say that a lot of them don't have an agenda, but sure, carry on.
Well, the people who are submitting them probably have an agenda. Hey, last one I got for you here. Fine. Hey, LTT, I'm glad to finally get a scribe driver. Question for Linus. Do you find the Steam Deck or Ally to hurt your right hand wrist when using the right stick? Mine gets so sore. No,
but I also didn't have trouble with the Switch, so maybe I just have robust wrists. Yeah, no, Steam Deck and Ally. No, I can't say that it's been an issue for me. You could try a case. There are some cases that alter the ergonomics a little bit. That's an option. And I think an option that we have now is to call it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the WAN show. We'll see you again next week. Same
Terrible
bad time,
timing.
Same bad channel.
1 second.
Luke's computer froze.
We can't say
hear
the
me?
end. There you go.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
You can
cool.
hear me? Oh, it's still frozen on my end, but I guess you
All
can
right.
hear me. So
Good timing. See you
All right.
guys.
bye.